Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon, where you're watching around the world. My name is Ted. I'll be your host today. And today we're here with Jesus Ramirez, the one and only, also from the Photoshop training channel. How you doing?
Doing good, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, no, we know each other for a while now. I haven't
Yeah.
seen him for a few months. It's very exciting to have him in the studio today. And then today we're gonna talk about animating your layers in Photoshop, correct?
Animating your layers in Photoshop. That's right. I mean, these days you could animate in Adobe Express. You know, some of you that are a little more old school, we're probably animating in Adobe After Effects, Premiere, but Photoshop has had the ability to animate for a long time now, since the timeline panel came out. Gosh, 15 years ago?
15 years. I didn't know that. That's pretty
Yeah,
long.
something like that. But it's a tool that I see, or not a tool, but a panel that I don't see a lot of people using. So this session will be all about creating a composite and then animating it using the timeline panel in Photoshop, which you could then export as a MP4 or a GIF, whatever you like. So that's what the session will be all about.
Yeah, so before we jump into start, do you want to give a little intro, the background
Sure,
of what you
why
do, since
not,
like
why
you do
not?
so many amazing work, right?
Yeah.
Like, want to make sure like people who are new watching first time seeing you, just like, hey, what does he do?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Ted. Well, first of all, I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces in the chat. I see General Kenobi, which I've seen
All right.
General Kenobi in the chat for maybe 5-6 years now, maybe longer.
Nice.
Who knows? Nate, how's it going? Good to see everybody. Let us know where you're watching from. We're streaming from the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area, which is where I grew up. But I don't live here anymore. I live in
I
Kansas
didn't know
City,
you grew up
Missouri
here.
now.
Yeah. I was like, where are you?
No, I grew up here. But for a month, I've been living in Kansas City, Missouri. But anyway, I'm gonna open up my browser here for just a second, just to let people know who I am. I'm just gonna make this super quick so we can get into Photoshop. So again, my name is Jesus Ramirez. I run a Photoshop YouTube channel where I teach Photoshop, called the Photoshop Training Channel. That's where most people know me from. I have Photoshop tutorials. I've been doing it for over 10 years now. And that is half of what I do. I do teaching, and the other half is actually, I'm still a professional graphic artist. I'm known what's called as a finisher, which means that I create movie and TV posters. This is my Behance page, and you can see some of the work that I've done recently. Frasier Season 2 is the latest poster that I worked on, and I've actually used a lot of generative AI in this poster. You probably can't really tell. Maybe if you zoom in really, really close, maybe you'll be able to tell. I don't know. But later on, in about 2 hours, I think, I'm going to have another session where we're going to talk about tips and tricks that the pros use with generative AI. So this is something I did here with this poster. Unfortunately, I don't have the rights to show you the before photos, but we will use images that will show some of the techniques that I used to create these posters. But anyway, so I worked on that. I worked on CSI Las Vegas, El Gallo de Oro for Univision, Gold Rush, Ghost Adventures, Deadliest Catch, and other TV shows. So yeah, so that's what I do professionally. So I always try to teach everything in a context of being a professional artist, working with teams. So I like to keep things editable, organized, and just make sure that if I hand my file over to you, you'll be able to work with it and use it rather than just one flat layer.
You name your layers?
You name your layers, that's right.
Well, if I have to share with someone, I'll name it.
Awesome. We have Keys from Iceland. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Oh man, my vision must be getting bad because I cannot read the other name. Is
Someone
that
from
Kane?
Guayana?
Good to see you, Kane. Ray, thank you so much for tuning in. Anyway, so this is the image that we are going to work with today. And it's going to be a very simple composite. It's not going to be anything too complex, just because I want to focus more on the animation tools and the timeline panel as opposed to compositing techniques, because I'm sure that there's a million compositing Adobe Lives, maybe not that many timeline panel Adobe Lives. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So the first thing that I want to discuss is, I usually don't do this, but I'm going to expand my toolbar. And the reason I'm doing that is because I can't see this icon here when it's expanded out this way. And the reason being is that I zoomed in my panels so that you guys could see the, like the icons and stuff much larger. Otherwise, they look really, really tiny on the stream. So that's why it's hidden. But usually I could see it and click on it. But if I click on this double-sided arrow, the the tools bar gets expanded into 2 columns, and then I can have access to this icon here. This is a brand new icon in Photoshop. This is the Generate Image icon, which is a little bit different than Generative Fill. With Generative Fill, you make a selection and then you use AI to generate content inside of that selection. Generate Image creates an image based on the dimensions of your canvas. Also, this moment in time, as we sit here talking to each other, what I'm about to say is true, but that may not be true when you watch this in the future.
Whoa.
Which is that the latest version of Firefly, if I'm not mistaken, Firefly version 3 is what's used to generate an image in this panel. If you use content-aware fill, it still uses version 2.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's one of the advantages, if you want to call it that, with using Generate Image. Also, we can choose if the result will be artwork or photorealistic, and we can use a reference or an effect. We'll talk about those a little later on, more specifically in the next class, where we are going to dive in deeper into this panel. But what I want to do is I want to generate an asset. I like to think of Generate Image as my own personal like Adobe Stock library kind of thing, where I can generate something that wouldn't necessarily be available in a regular stock image website, including Adobe Stock. This is more personal to me because I can choose a reference or I can choose an effect. It could just generate something that I really, really want. And I think that's the important thing to realize with generative AI. A lot of people are afraid that it will take your jobs. And in certain cases, to be quite honest, maybe it will take some, some tasks.
A small job, yeah.
Some tasks,
Yeah.
for sure. And if that's your job, then obviously that takes your job. But overall, I think AI helps us to be more creative. So in this case, I want to create the illusion that this person is throwing a playing card at us, right? He's throwing a playing card. So I could easily go into Adobe Stock and then look for playing cards and make an adjustment. But I'm stuck with the designs that are people uploaded of the playing cards. Or I can click on this icon and just generate a playing card. So I can say something like, I don't know, we'll do a King of Hearts playing card and then we can give it a style, so it's not just generic. So maybe like and I'm gonna misspell this word,
Yeah, I always misspell
Renaissance, and that's probably misspelled, but don't worry about it.
It's a hard word to spell.
In a Renaissance style, Renaissance style on a solid white background. The reason I'm doing that is so that it's easier for me to mask a little later on.
That's true. Yep.
And then I want it to be photorealistic, so I'm going to click on photo. I don't need a reference image or an effect. I'm just going to click on generate. And what I should get is a playing card that, I could have found on a stock image, but in the specific style that I want. And that's the real advantage, I think. And that's how I used see, did I not put playing cards? I did. Oh, I didn't see. I made a mistake. I didn't put card. See that playing card here?
Just plain.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just change.
What's actually really
card.
Funny? So I'm actually going to Renaissance Fair.
Really?
This Sunday. So when you said that, I was like,
you can dress up as that.
I'm actually gonna dress up. That's gonna be my outfit inspiration. Just howdy.
But it did a really good job. Oh, see, there you go. That's what we want.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
But yeah, so you don't have to spell things correctly all the time, but you definitely have to give the right context. In this case, I didn't say that I wanted a playing card. So we can choose the one that better works for us, right? And all these are great, whichever one works. I actually like this one a lot.
Yeah,
even though this one has an X here, but it has, I don't know. I mean, we could definitely fix them if we needed to. But I just really like the way this one looks, so that's what I'm going to keep.
Being in motion probably too.
Yeah.
You probably won't really see it.
Absolutely. And we can definitely use some of the AI-enabled tools to make a selection and mask this out. But, I'm old school, so I like to use some of the older techniques to get better selections. For something simple like this, something that has straight edges, you're not going to get any better selection than using a vector mask as opposed to a pixel-based mask. Ooh. So a vector mask just gives you the sharpest edges possible, right? And for a playing card, that would work fantastic.
So using pen tool for that?
No, because this is a very simple shape, right? So this is a rectangle, right? At the end of the day, this is a rectangle. Make sure that you have path selected on the drop-down here in the options bar, and then you can just make a selection, or not a selection, just a square, a rectangle.
Right.
And you can use the space bar, by the way, when you're making one of these shapes. You can move it around by holding the space bar. So I'm just going to try to match the left edge here and the top edge. And I'm going to go in just a little bit. I don't need to be right on the edge. And then I'm going to just make a selection. I keep saying selection. It'll be a selection eventually, or a mask. But I'm just going to make a shape, rather. There's my shape. And do you see these little dots here?
Yeah.
You can click and drag on these dots. And then you can just round those edges. And there you go. Now, all you need to do is go into the Layers panel, hold Control on Windows, that's the Command key on the Mac, And while you're holding down that key, click on the layer mask icon. This creates a vector mask. See, when I hover over it, the label reads vector mask.
Yeah.
These masks, as I said before, are fantastic for straight edges. So playing cards, cars, buildings, things like that. They wouldn't work great for hair. They wouldn't work great for fur or things like that. But for
hard edges.
yeah,
and
hard edges and things like that, you're not gonna
great.
get better edges. So they're more complicated to create if the shape is obviously more complex. But if it's something simple, like I could have done this in like 2 seconds if I wasn't explaining it. So this is the method I would have used just to make sure that everything is super sharp and it looks fantastic. What I'm gonna do now is I don't like these really long names just because this is just the prompt that I use. Thank you. So I'm just going to call this card just so that I know what that is. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to convert this into a smart object. Smart object is a container that allows you to apply non-destructive adjustments, distortions, filters, and transformations. In other words, Ted, you can come back and make changes at any time that you want, right?
If you're passing the file to me, right?
Yeah, if I'm passing the. So we were talking off camera about this, or was it on camera? I forgot. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The point is that with the type of work that I do, everything needs to be named correctly, and whenever I hand the file to someone else, they got to be able to use it and make changes and edit them. So anyway, so here we go. Here's our playing card. What I'm going to do now is just press Control-T, Command-T to transform, and I'm going to use the transformation handles to distort the playing card to make it seem like he's throwing it. When you're in the transformation of a layer, you can always right-click on it, and then you can choose Distort, which allows you to drag these handles independently, and now you can create the illusion that the card is being thrown. And by the way, if I click and drag from the middle, you can move it around.
That's pretty cool.
So then, at this point, it's just, how do you want the card to look, right? So here we go. Maybe something like this.
Is there like a easier way for someone who's not sure about remember the perspective we talked about earlier, like how for like someone who's like new or like trying to match it and make it looks correct? Is there any tips?
In this particular instance, it might be a little bit more difficult because there's no context, right? There's nothing in the background, and it's just eyeballing it, to be quite honest. If we were trying to match, if this were, say, a car, and we were matching it to a street, then we will have a lot of context. We have the parallel converging
I see what you mean.
lines.
Yeah, so there's like a depth of field that you can look better.
Yes,
Okay,
but in this case, it's flying through the air, right? So it doesn't really need to be parallel.
It looks pretty good to me. Yeah,
right.
It looks great.
So you can just, distort it, to your content, and
or you can grab a piece of paper on the left hand and just like adjust it from the perspective
absolutely.
and match it.
So whatever you think works, right? So there you go. So that's our playing card, and he's throwing it, and it looks fantastic. So this is our composite is coming together. By the way, I have the habit of always saving. Pro tip: when you look at the toolbar, tabs, you can see this little asterisk here. You see that little asterisk right there? That just means the document is not saved. So if I ever
that's what it means?
That's what it means.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So when you
open my Photoshop.
Yeah, go ahead. See, if you press Control S, it'll go away. So then watch what happens. I'm going to press Control S, and it's going to go away. Control S, it's going to go away. It's saved.
Wow.
So in my mind, whenever I see a little asterisk, I'm like, oh my God, I got to save. Because
I'm going to steal that on my session later. Like, did you know this fun fact I learned 2 hours ago?
yeah, go ahead. No problem. That's why we're here, to learn from each other. So I don't know about you, but I've had disasters where I've had hours worth of work just disappear.
Yeah, it happens.
So when it happens to you one time, you do everything possible for it not to happen again. So anyway, so Control S to save, and then the little asterisk goes away. But watch what happens. If I make a change, oh look, the asterisk came back.
Yeah, okay.
So if I save again, asterisk goes away.
Yeah, right? I think every like 5 to 10 layers, I just automatically press.
Yeah, I'm
even
always
though the
Control
auto saving is on, I'm just
I
just want to double check, making sure everything's smooth.
Yep. Let's create something else. So I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to create, I want to create kind of like, this is like a magician, he's doing a trick, and I want to create some depth, some atmosphere. So why don't we add a little bit of fog, a little bit of smoke,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So one of the things that I like to do is just create an overlay. So we can say something like fog overlay on a black background. A photo's good, and I'm just going to generate, and we'll see what happens. Like a lot of the times you're rolling the dice, and whatever you generate is not what you want. Just try it again until you get something that works. we'll see what we get in this case.
Yeah, it just remind me did you watch the new Marvel movie, The Gambit? With Wolverine?
Actually, the funny
haven't
thing
watched
is,
it? Then
the funny thing is that the reason that I came up with this idea is because I saw that movie.
Oh, really?
And
We'll make a name for us.
yeah, we're gonna make our name for ourselves. Yep, exactly. So these are good. These are actually way better than I was expecting, to be honest. But I'm gonna assume that they're not as good as this, because I wanted to show you guys another feature. So I could easily just switch the blending over to screen here, and then now we have some like nice looking fog here, and it looks pretty good. But let's just assume that this is just not a good generation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another thing that you can do, instead of just repeating the generation, you can just go into like the lasso tool, for example, and just make a selection out of like this.
The section you want, yeah.
Yeah, and then just Control C on Windows, Command C on the Mac. I'm gonna create a new document and just paste it in here. Notice that when you have something copied in your clipboard, when you create a new document, Photoshop makes a new document that is the dimensions required for whatever you copied onto that clipboard. So there it is. And I'm just gonna make the background black. Two ways of doing it. If the background is white like it is now, pressing Control I inverts. So the invert of white is black, of course. So then I can now make a brush out of this, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna select the brush tool from this drop down. I'm just gonna bring the hardness down to 0. You can see the little preview here. Hard edge, soft edge. The key, I'm old school, so the old keyboard shortcut to do that is Shift, right bracket key to make it harder, Shift, left bracket key to make it softer. And I'm just gonna soften the edges here. I'm gonna use a mask actually, just in case I make a mistake, I can bring something back. So I'm just gonna do this here. There we go.
Nice.
It looks fantastic. I'm gonna duplicate this layer by pressing Control J, Control T to transform, change the blending mode to screen so we can see through it, and I'm just gonna rotate it and just move this like this, and maybe scale it. Actually rotate it horizontally like so. So it's not 100% the same. And I'm just trying to just create something that has the same edges, but it's not like a obvious, rotation or duplication or inversion of what I was doing before. So I think this looks pretty good. And what I'm gonna do now is all this, you don't have to merge it, but just for the purposes of like visualizing things, I'm just gonna press Control E while selecting everything to merge it into one layer. So we're just gonna take that image and we're going to convert that into a brush. But if we try to do this now, it wouldn't work. When you create a brush, whatever is black is actually what becomes the area that will have quote unquote paint. So we want the opposite. We want this to be black, the fog.
Right.
So Control I to invert, but that's got a color. Again, it's not really going to affect it, but when I look at it, it just freaks me out. So I'm like, I got to remove the color. Control Shift U to desaturate. Control Shift U on Windows. Command Shift U on the Mac to desaturate. Yeah, you don't have to really do it, but it's just in my head. If you can go into Edit. Define.
Just back in your mind is like 50 short keys just pop out right there, expand it.
Exactly. Define brush preset. I'm just gonna call this fog, and now we have this fog brush.
Nice, yeah, because I personally use clouds a lot in my artwork.
Sure.
But I never thought about like, hey, I can just make my own brush. I'm that one guy who have like 1,000 different brushes.
1,000 brushes.
And I'm looking for like, where is that brush? But that's
both
kind of
ways
faster.
work, right?
Yeah, this way's kind of like more faster and then customized to how you want to use.
Because this brush has never existed ever before. You know?
It's nice.
So then I can now, I'm gonna fill the background with, oops, that was the wrong shortcut there. I wanted to do Command and backspace on Windows, Control Delete on the Mac to make the background white. I'm going to reduce my brush size by tapping on the left bracket key. Black is my foreground color. I'm going to create a new layer and watch what happens when I paint. That doesn't look like fog, right? So that means that we need to apply properties to the brush so that it looks a little bit more like fog. So what do? We'll create a new layer. We'll go into the button here to open up the brush settings, and now we can increase the spacing. We can go into shape dynamics and adjust the size jitter. That means that every single brush tip will be different sizes. We'll also adjust the angle jitter so that they rotate and they're all not facing the same direction. So now when I paint, I get this result here. Much better, right? I can continue making other adjustments, like we can go into the transfer and we can adjust the opacity jitter, which means that some of these brush tips will be darker, other ones won't be as dark. So then when I paint, I get this result here. So now I can take this brush.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I can take this brush. We don't need this layer. I can delete it and then just press Control D on Windows, Command D on the Mac to deselect. By the way, I'd always think of random keyboard shortcuts that people probably don't know. Let me know in the chat. So Control D deselects a selection, but that you know that Control Shift D brings back a selection. So
I didn't know that.
So like I can make, like it's not hitting undo, by the way. So I just created a bunch of layers, right?
Yeah.
Control Shift D, it brings back that selection. Control
I didn't
D,
know that.
I can come in here, paint, do whatever I want. Control
still bring
Shift
it back?
D, and it still brings it back.
So how till you make the new
Until you make a new
selection?
selection. Yeah.
That's so cool. I didn't know that. Wow.
My goal is to get Tay to say I didn't know that at least 5 times.
I already learned 5 new stuff here because even in the brush the changing angle,
opacity
everything.
in it,
I never thought about the opacity one, because I just keep pressing the number, changing the opacity and pin it as I go, but I just randomize it.
Yep.
So
anyway.
3 more to go. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just Robert said there are 2 people who can ramble at shortcut notices like a machine gun, Jesus and Claudia. Claudia from Print My Soul, who's now an Adobe evangelist.
Oh yeah. She's also like you too. Just got all the everything in the back.
She's pretty good at keyboard shortcuts.
Wow.
Fun fact: Claudia's my ex-girlfriend, so there you go.
Random fact.
Oh, Lisa Carney's on the chat. Hey, Claudia. Lee, I'm reading names on the and I see Lisa. Hey, Lisa, how's it going? Good to see you.
Oh, Lisa. Oh,
yeah.
I miss you. I hope to see her in Adobe Max.
Yeah, actually, Lisa and I will be presenting a session at Adobe Max together.
Okay, I'll go sign up right now.
Yeah, sign up right now. And if you haven't already signed up,
I'll go
Lisa
sign
and I
up.
will be there.
Yeah, I want to go.
And Ted, yeah, you'll be presenting.
Oh, it'll be my first time speaking. I'm already sweating for a month later.
Yeah.
So nervous.
So I'm gonna put I'm gonna make this the foreground color. I'm gonna make white the foreground color, and then I can paint my fog in. See how I can paint it however I want. So what I'll do is I'll probably reduce the opacity a little bit, and just create a little bit of fog here, like so. And now I can control it much better than just the generated image. But we use a generated image to create this brush, so amazing, right?
Yeah, because you can't really just generate the fog on the top because it will take everything underneath to remove it too, right? So this is more control to it. That's so cool.
Yep. So I mean, and we can always adjust the opacity and what have you to make this better, right? So this and I'm gonna name the layer, right? We always have to name the layers.
We're gonna play the game. Guess the layer.
Here's another fun shortcut. When you're typing a layer name, you can press the tab key, and it switches over to the next layer, and you can name that layer as well. Shift tab goes up to the layer above, so you can rename the layer above.
I was about to say again. I didn't know that. Yeah, because I'm just so used to double click it and then just do it. I never thought about hey, there's faster short key on the left, and you can just faster. Yeah.
In a laptop, it really doesn't matter, right? If I'm here and then I come here and paint and come back here, that's super quick. But I don't know about you, Ted, but at home I have 2 monitors. At one point I had 3, but then it was too much. So I had
3.
Yeah, I had to downsize to 2. So if I'm working on this side on something, but then I have to go all the way to this side and click on something, then come back.
Yeah,
that takes a lot of time.
I drag it too close to me, but still I don't look at my keyboard, so it will be faster if I know the short keys and everything. Hey, Lisa didn't know that too.
What, Lisa?
It's so random, but it's so helpful.
Random shortcuts.
We should have a special session that you just talk about all the random keys, one tip a day, just keys.
And the funny thing is if you were to ask me, give me a random key, I'll be I have no idea. But then if as I'm working,
on the floor,
right now that I'm working, they
cool.
pop up oh, I'm gonna rename a layer. Oh, this key does that.
I might have to come back and watch it because I feel like I already forgot somewhere already.
Well, good thing these are recorded.
Yeah. Well, if we ever do let's say Photoshop speed editing competition, do you think you're gonna be winning top 5, top 2?
Yeah.
I have to find your match, so you guys can go who's
oh my God, I
editing.
can't. Okay, so we gotta talk about this. Look at the chat. Chad said, Jesus, you owe me $100. So Lisa Carney was at my house approximately a year ago. We were actually going to do an Adobe Live together. So Lisa spent the night with my wife and I at our house, and we had a Photoshop debate. We had a Photoshop debate.
Yeah.
So Lisa said, I bet you $100. And me being me said, I'm on, let's do it. and I lost.
What was the
It was
the
something
topic?
about layer mask and like unlinking them or inverting them. I forget specifically what it was.
Yeah.
And Lisa got me.
Oh,
I couldn't.
it's okay. You got her back with the
And then
tab naming.
she says she doesn't want me to pay her because she wants to be able to make comments like that I
That's
owe her.
funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so now that we have a couple layers, why don't we start animating this composite, because after all, this is what this session's all about. So when you go into Windows, you can choose Timeline, which is down here hiding. There it is, Timeline. And this opens up the Timeline panel. You can create a frame animation, which is like a, like an animated GIF where you can, draw a ball, and then the next frame the ball's in a different position, and you can animate using frames. I don't want to do that. I'm going to use a video timeline, which is a little bit more like After Effects in a way. So I'm just going to click on create video timeline, and this creates the video timeline that shows my fog layer and my card layer here. So I'm going to double click on the hand tool to fit the image to screen, and I can now start animating. So we'll go with the card. And by the way, notice how these layers are pinkish or purple. Sometimes when you're working with a lot of layers, you just get confused, right? But if we make the card layer, we right click on it, choose color, and make it red, that becomes red. And the fog layer, why don't we make it like gray? So now they're easier to see.
I do have a questions on the layer. When you just create a layer timeline, right?
Yep.
Usually it give you like a set time. Is there a way to like preset it? Like always give you like 10 second, 15 second when you create a timeline, or
Good
you have
question.
to adjust it? Yeah.
Right. You from what I understand, you just have to adjust it. But now that you asked that question, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, don't quote me on this, but as far as I know, there's no way of presetting a timeline length, if that's what you're asking.
And also, like, for example, right? So if you have like 5 seconds already, and sometime when I create a new layer, it will only be like 2 seconds. Is there a way to automatically make it match the rest of the timeline?
So not automatically, but you just like
you have to just drag it. Okay, I was just curious because sometimes I do try to do like I don't know why I did in Photoshop. I make like 20-second thing. I was like, okay, I gotta drag every new layer to it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. So why don't we start by animating the card? And when we click on this down pointing arrow, you can see the options we have. We have transform, opacity, and style. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to transform this and make this. Oops. So right now with my keyboard, I'm used to holding Shift when you scale, but now that's not how it works. There's ways of going into the properties panel and use the legacy transform right here. Use legacy free transform, and if you check that box, you have to hold Shift to scale in proportion, and if it's unchecked, you don't. So since I'm old school, I like to have that.
I remember the one day we woke out, everything was like changed. I was like, ooh.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna click on the stopwatch here. Oops, I gotta escape that first. Stopwatch. By the way, I did something that I even said the word. I went oops, and then I realized I made a mistake. There's a key in Photoshop that I call the whoopsie daisy key. If you make a mistake, just hit the escape key. Because no matter where you are, if you open up a panel and you didn't mean to, whoopsie daisy, escape key. If you hit Control T to transform, but that's not what you wanted to do, whoopsie daisy, escape key. So the escape key works pretty much for everything. And there's a couple instances where it doesn't work, and it really annoys me because I'm like, it works for everything. And then there's like one or two things that for whatever reason it doesn't. So always use the escape key. Like for example, when you click on like opacity here, you notice how there's a blue outline indicating that is active. And a lot of the times, if I wanted to use a keyboard shortcut like Control T, like it wouldn't really work because
it was stuck in
here.
box,
So then you just gotta hit escape, and then it, like it's no longer there, right?
Right.
So if you just want to get out of where you are, just hit escape. Whoopsie daisy.
Whoopsie daisy.
Anyway, so transform. Control T to transform. Here we are. And I'm going to scale this in while holding Shift. So in the beginning of the animation, maybe the card is here, just coming right out of his hand. And we'll make this animation shorter. We'll make it 2 seconds just so that, we can render it fast.
The render time, Just show example.
Yeah, and then we can go to the end here. And we don't have to go all the way to the end. I just want to make it larger, and now it's coming like up here, right? And maybe, I don't know, maybe it rotates a little bit like that. And notice that it automatically created a keyframe. And now you can see the animation. And then I can move this over here, drag the playhead to the beginning, hit the space bar, and there you go. That's
Your
our
computer is really fast.
cool. Thank you to our sponsors, MSI.
Mine is like go like dit. Slowly loading. But yeah, that's really fun way to animate it using like the keyframe, right? With the transform and everything.
There you
So
go.
you kind of like set a car in the first position, and then you move to like at what second you want the car to be, and then Photoshop would do the animation in between for you.
Yeah. Two things. Notice how I keep pressing the space bar
Yeah.
when the video ends. There's an option that should allow me to get
loop
rid of
it,
that.
right?
Yeah, loop playback right there.
Nice.
So when I hit play, it should loop it. So that's one thing. The other thing is that I don't want that bounding box showing, so I can uncheck that. So there you go. So that's so notice how the card is just flying out of his hands, right? Fantastic. So we're animating that. One of the things that I want to talk about is we created a smart object earlier. So if I go into this smart object here,
Right.
there it is. We can also create a video timeline in here, right? And I can duplicate that layer. Control J to duplicate. And now I can go and make any changes I want to this. So this is like King of Hearts. King of Hearts, instead of King of Hearts, what do we make it? Like an Ace of Clubs or something completely different. So like Ace of Clubs, playing card, generate. And we're gonna just do another animation in here.
Nice. They would follow everything.
And then, but everything's contained in the smart object, so it should update in the final
main file,
composite.
yeah.
Yep. So there you go. Look at
This
that.
one looks pretty.
Yeah. Let me see.
I was expecting another Renaissance.
Yeah, yeah.
Guy playing guitar from earlier.
Yep, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this layer here, and I'm going to clip this layer to a layer below. Control Alt G on Windows, Command Option G on the Mac. That means that the layer below controls the visibility of the layer on top. In this case, it works perfectly. Then I'm going to hold Alt on Windows, Option on the Mac, and click on the layer mask icon to create a black layer mask. When you hold Shift and click, and the layer mask is like right in between us, right here, right there. That's the layer mask in case you can't see it. There we
Am I
go.
blocking it?
Yep.
Oh, but now I'm blocking the words.
Yep.
I'll hide.
You can hold Shift and click on the layer mask. Notice that red X, it just means it disables it. Off, on, right? Well, look at what we have here now. We have a layer mask. Let me move this out of the way. We have a layer mask enable stopwatch, which creates a keyframe. So layer mask enable, and then at 1 second, we're gonna hold Shift, click on that, and look at that keyframe, right? So now we have this thing here. So the playing card, while it's in midair, you have to save it, of course. It's gonna switch. See that? See the switch? So then when I hit play, by tapping on the space bar, Ace, boom, it switches.
I hate to say that, but I didn't know that.
There you go. See? It just makes that switch.
Animation the layer mask.
Yeah. Is there another? Why does it switch twice? I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to go in there. We have
You
to
have
go
to
in
go
here
back into there
and
to
figure out
check,
why
yeah.
it's doing that. But anyway, for now, I'm not exactly sure where that other beep is. Maybe I need to make this smaller. I don't know. The point is that you can make that adjustment if you wanted to. And also, if you wanted the other card to show first, you can swap these guys. So then, oops. If this happens to you, you can just drag it down. When the bottom of the screen turns blue, just release, and there it is. And you can drag this back up. Anyway, so this starts as the King of Hearts, and then boop, it just goes away. So then that's actually what I wanted. I wanted the ace to be at the end, so I can close it, save it, to update it, and then hit the space bar, and then at some point, it's gonna switch. There you go. See that? So like that's our animation switch. So he's doing a magic trick in midair, right? So we have that. We also have the fog layer. So now let's create the illusion that the fog layer is just moving through the air, right? But unfortunately, with this particular fog layer, if we try to do anything with it, like Control T to transform, right? I'm just gonna make this larger than what we need so we can have room to play with, right? Like this. So I'm just gonna place this right about, I don't know, right about here. And I'm just gonna create a position. And I'm going to move that keyframe to the beginning. And I'm just gonna move this to the left, right about here. And there it is. So now, when I play this, we have this cool fog just moving through the air. Pretty cool, right? But that's a little too fast, I think. So we can always stretch out the keyframes so they're further away from each other. so that the animation's slower. And even though the keyframe is outside of the timeline of the confinements of our actual video, you can still move it over there, and now it moves slower. See that? See how it's just... Yeah, super cool. But at this point, it just literally looks like a layer moving from left to right. So how can we make this look a little more, I don't know, make it feel like it's got more...
Yeah. There's actually like going around, yeah.
We can actually create a layer mask, but instead of just creating a layer mask, I'm gonna create a black mask, Alt on Windows, Option on the Mac, and click, unlink it to the layer, and on this thumbnail, I'm gonna go into filter
right here,
clouds. So now we have this mask, right? So we have the fog moving through, but there's a mask now. It's creating that weird illusion.
That's pretty genius.
But check this out. It's still more stuff. We can also adjust the mask position. So I'm gonna click on the mask position here, and I'm gonna move the mask. Okay, so this is an issue here. So what I need to do is make the mask larger.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm gonna make it larger, like so. There we go. And I can start the mask on this side. Move this over here, and then move the mask. And notice the focus, the white outline is on the mask. That's why this is working. And now I can move the mask to the other side. And there you go, it created the keyframe automatically. I can stretch this out or leave it there, completely up to you. For now, we'll see how it looks with the keyframe there. So now, when I make that adjustment, see that? Just from that one layer, it looks like it's got more depth. See that?
Yeah, so basically you create the fog from the Gen AI, you made it to a brush, you paint it over, create a different type of fills on there, and then you animate it with the mask that's moving from left to right, and then you create another layer on the top using the layer mask with the cloud filters on there, and then from right to left, so it's overlapping two different textures moving like this, and giving like a really strong type of feel. It's like there is more than one fog moving. That's pretty genius. Yeah.
And that is just one layer. So think about
what that's crazy. That's just one layer, because I would be like 5 layers in already, be like, ah.
Well, and think of what we could do if we also start messing with, look, there's opacity here. So what if we now have 2 fog layers? So this one I'll make a different color so we can tell it apart. So this one will be violet, right? So what if this fog layer here in the beginning, what if that one were to start elsewhere, right? What if that one were to, I don't know, like, you know, maybe it's a little bit lower, and I'll also add the opacity, maybe bring it down even lower, and then when we move over here, maybe this one moves, I don't know, just trying to create different motion, you know, whatever the different motion would be, and then maybe increase the opacity a little bit more. That might be a little too much. Anyway, you can see how by just creating all these randomizations, you could just create the illusion that there's a lot more going on. There's really a layer just going from left to right.
Wait, zooming a little more. I want to see the
the
fog.
Sure.
Yeah, on the screen. Yeah.
Let me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close that, double click on the hand tool, and there it is.
Oh, double click into this way.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah, that's really cool. But see, like I would go into a room, like a green room, and then just like bring my own like smoke machine, fill it up, record it, and then just like put it on there, like ta-da.
Yep, pretty cool, right? And that's not all.
Yeah,
that's not all. So we can go into Window, Timeline panel,
come back to Timeline.
Check this out. So now we're gonna go back into the card. The card is over here, and I'm gonna enable the style. See that? Style? I'm going to enable the style. That means that you can go into the FX icon, blending options, or any one of these, or double click to the side of the layer. Oh, there we go. It's like right in between. Am I blocking
it?
Yeah. That's all right.
I'm going to move to the other side real quick. There you go. Wait, show them again. So what were you clicking?
Yep. Yeah. You can double click to the side of the layer. That's how I like to do it. Some people like to go into the FX icon and click specifically on what they want. Completely up to you.
I just double click it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast.
Whatever you like. Then you can go into like, here, I'm going to do this. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just click on gradient overlay. By the way, if you wanna look at what I'm looking at, I'm just gonna reset the default list because I have a bunch of stuff going on. So we can click on gradient overlay, right? So since this is flying through the air, I wanna make it seem like it just like, you know, it's reflective, so maybe there's a light or something. So just a light's just gonna come through like this. Oh. So I'm just gonna start here. I'm gonna press OK, and then when I go here, I'm going to just bring this down like so, and it should work, I hope. Yep. Yeah, see that?
Wait, move us back to the layer corner. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so
man,
we can see the style is the key animation that you do. So while you double click changing that.
Yep. So I'm gonna hit so that we have the two keywords, or I'm sorry, not keywords, keyframes.
Keyframes, yes.
Here. So when I hit play, you can see that. See that? There you go. Obviously it's black, so we gotta make it transparent. So I can go into the gradient overlay just by double clicking on it. And actually what I needed to do is to change what I'm about to change in the actual keyframe. So you can click on this arrow to go into the actual keyframe. Otherwise it'll create a new one. And this change the blending mode to screen. I'm sorry, screen.
Yeah, screen.
And then click on this one.
The next keyframe.
Yep, next keyframe. Yep, and do the same thing.
Because otherwise it's gonna go from screen to black.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. So now, look at that.
Nice.
Whoosh.
Vicky on YouTube say like, "Hey, I hope the hand could also move a little." I was like, "Oh, that's a lot of work."
The what? Oh, the hand. Oh, yeah. That'll be a little.
I think, you have to like mask the hand now, clone it, and then patch it, and then paste
How much
the
time
hand
do we
on
have?
top.
I like
and then
that.
you can
I
move it
like that
that
challenge actually.
We have like 15 minutes.
Oh my God, I don't see. The thing is that since I didn't practice that, I don't know if it's gonna work, but we can figure it out.
I mean, you can just do.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Well, why not? No, because we'll figure it out. We'll do some. We'll do some.
Well, you do a quick mask on the hand, and then you copy, paste it, and then do the
we'll do
gem
something.
film.
We'll do.
Remove it.
I like the challenge.
Yeah,
I like the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you go whoosh.
Yeah. Whoosh.
Oh, you know what'd be cool if the right here, this is where it happens.
It changed when you change the color.
Yeah.
I guess you could do copy the whole guy and then just copyright animate it. Puppet
warp. I don't know. Puppet warp can't be animated, unfortunately.
Oh, you can not in the Photoshop. Wah wah.
Yeah, you can in other apps.
Yeah, like After Effects. Yeah,
I know. So what I'm doing here is trying to match that. Yeah, see
just
that?
animate the thumb.
I know. We can just
do the thumb. Yeah, and give you a concept of how it works.
I'm gonna fit it on screen. That's another way of doing the double hand thing.
Yeah.
So then here we go.
Swing. Where does the magic happen? Drum roll, please.
Yeah. Oh,
that's actually pretty good timing. Wow.
Look at that.
Boom,
yeah. All right. So the other thing I was going to show you guys, and how much time did we say we have?
Like 14 minutes.
14. All right. Yeah. So just to mention it super quick, the other thing I was going to mention is that when you're animating layer styles, one cool thing you can do, and I'm just going to do it like super quick, so it's not going to look great, but I still want you guys to get an idea of what that is. I'm going to use what's the fastest way of doing this? The selection brush, because now I want to try that challenge. So you guys know that I love Photoshop challenges.
A good challenge?
Yeah, especially when there's a time constraint. So I'm just going to do his glasses here really quick. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm just making a selection around those glasses. In this layer, I'll just call this layer glasses. Yeah. And the color doesn't matter. So I'm going to fill with like, I don't know, white. The color doesn't matter. It could be any color, right? But when you go into the layer styles, if you bring the fill, it's labeled fill opacity, but this is the fill. You bring it down to 0, it becomes invisible. But the only pixels it will now show are the pixels that you create using the layer styles. So now I can add like a little bevel and emboss and maybe like an inner shadow or something like that. And this could also be animated. So, maybe, I don't know, something like that. And again, I'm going really fast here. So what happened to my glasses layer here? There it is. I'm going to create a style here. Oh, see how this is what you were talking about.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was talking
about. It generated outside. You just
like,
gotta bring it in. And if I wanted to, I can make it shorter, but it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna go into the style here. That's creating that layer style, and then right about the end, maybe we change it, right? So I don't know, what can we change? We can change the intensity. Maybe bring that down. I don't know. I'm just trying to make it different, right?
Just style, yeah.
Inner shadow. So maybe I don't know. Maybe something like this, and the opacity comes out. I don't know.
Sure.
It's different.
It's something.
So then the point that I was trying to make is that you can define the layer with actual pixels, bring the fill down to 0, it becomes invisible, and then the only pixels that show up are the pixels that you add with a layer style, and then those could be animated as well. So I'm gonna hit the space bar, and there you go. That's actually a cool switch. See his glasses now?
Yeah, his glasses changing.
Yeah. So this is, he's a really good magician. Cool. So this, I'm gonna save this, and this is like basically the end. I want to take that
Hand
challenge.
Yeah, you have 10
okay.
minutes. You can totally do it.
Oh,
I
man.
believe you. Just do it. Just
All right. So
work really
to
fast.
keep things organized, I'm just gonna put everything in this into a group. Yeah. So then I don't have to like look at it and think about it. Then I'll enable it and it'll work. So as you said, Ted, I think the way to go here is to keep the arm in a separate layer, right?
Yeah.
So then, I don't know, quick selection is probably the easiest way to do this specific
It's
thing.
looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, well, we haven't even started. So.
Promising. As long as it's recognizing it, I think that's working pretty good for step one, you know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like everything blending so well, like you can't really select it that fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So far it's we're off to the right start, but we haven't really done anything. So can we celebrate this as a victory? I don't know. Why not? All right, for now, we'll just call that good. I'm going to duplicate the layer. Oh, by the way, the reason that I did that, instead of pressing Control J just copies the arm, but I want to copy the whole thing, so I duplicate the layer by dragging it into the new layer icon, layer mask icon. So now, arm is in its own layer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the perfect selection. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to convert this into a smart object. So there it is. Boom. Nice. So now we got to start with that, and then maybe I'm using the quick the brush here. I'm gonna try to see what
Genfill does.
Genfill does, yeah. Because I hope the I'm gonna close this. I have more room with.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the generative fill, and this is up here. I hit it up here earlier.
Moved out.
I'm hoping the generative fill could help me here.
Pray.
Yeah.
Just remove it.
I hope it just removes it and it doesn't create another one. We'll see. We'll just go to.
If not, might have to bring out the old content aware fill.
Yeah, maybe. That's actually not a bad idea.
Is it possible to make his arm move? That's what we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Oh wow. All right, so this is clearly not working. All right.
Wait, what are the?
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. No, none of it works.
Yeah, none of it works. All right, so. This is what I'm gonna say.
Well, if you use remove tool already. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I got it. We're gonna hack this.
You're gonna hack it?
We're gonna hack this. Yeah.
Oh, how are you gonna do it? I thought about that too, but I guess you can just move the shoulder arms. You're just gonna copy, duplicate, and flip it and cover on the top.
Yep, that's right. So.
Close enough. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, because
if it doesn't work, I'll just block it with my head.
I can warp this, and then I can. Yeah, this is gonna work. Yeah, and we have more time. I'd probably use like liquify or something to make it more real, but we don't have that kind of.
We're trying our best.
We don't have that luxury.
You're doing great. You got 8 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, 8 minutes. Oh, I got it.
Yeah, you got
8 minutes. That's an eternity.
Yeah, and then mask it. Yeah. Nice.
I love it when I get challenges. I don't know why.
Hey, you guys don't have to challenge me when it's my session. You know, we just take it slow.
Please.
I'm gonna see you in the comment section. I was like, get out of here.
You know what? And again, I'm gonna like completely hack this because I normally wouldn't do this, but because we don't have the time, I'm gonna do this. But hopefully, Genfill could help us out at the end. I have a plan.
Yeah, it's a great plan. What does that sound so familiar? I have a plan. It's from like a movie quote or something.
Maybe.
I have a plan.
Like, I have a plan, Ted. Don't worry, bro.
Oh, I'm not worried. No.
I'm gonna fix this later. So I'm just like, right now is just.
Oh, I see. So so instead of basically, I'm guessing what you're doing is that you pick the color of the background, you kind of pen in, make like a gradient, so it looks like there is the green screen in the back, and then put it on the top. Maybe Genfill, so like in between.
And I'm blurring it all together, so it it blends in a little better.
Do like a little Genfill.
Yep,
fix the gap in between.
Yeah, because then Genfill will think it's part of the background. Great.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So here, this is this is perfect. It's gonna work. It's gonna work.
This should work. This should show how powerful Genfill is.
I hope so.
Knock on wood.
Let's see. Okay, so here and then. All right. Yeah. This is all we need really, because this arm is here. Yeah. So okay, here we go. So timeline panel filter. Okay, here we go. Let's okay, I'm just gonna call this one arm, and then so I can see it quickly and don't have to look for it every 2 seconds. I'm just gonna make this green. There we go, green.
Perfect.
All right, arm, smart object. Let me look at the animation just to see how I'm making sure everything is. Oh, I gotta enable the group here.
layer, yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, cool. So with the arm here, Control T, I'm gonna enable the reference point. I hope this, actually, whoopsie daisy. Transform, Control T, drag the reference point here, and it's gonna start right here. And then we're gonna move it to the end here, Control T. Oh, okay, this is probably not gonna work as well as I want it to. Okay, so this is gonna be an issue, but it's fine, let's see.
Close enough.
Close enough.
I mean, the concept is there. The idea is there. Worst case, we'll just...
There we go, that works.
It looks good enough. Just put more fog on there.
Just put more fog on
Cover
there.
it out with the VFX.
Yeah, I just gotta fix the finger that's there, and then we got it.
Put more fog on.
Yeah, put more fog. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, see, it's pretty good. I'd probably make it faster.
Yeah,
make it faster, right? Yeah, like there.
He's just gonna stop at the end.
Yeah, like.
All right, how much time do we have?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Good enough.
Oh wait, no.
No, I mean 5 minutes. I know
right.
you can do it in 5.
Yeah. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna fix the issues here.
Yeah.
And I really do think that Gen Fill will now work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna generate that right there, and then just click on Generative Fill. Hopefully it works.
This is pretty fun. Moment of truth.
So everyone, please challenge Ted in his.
No, do not challenge me. No.
Oh,
hey, that looks
perfect.
pretty good.
That's
Yeah. Cue back the hands. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's good. So then
great.
we got the hand, we got this, and we can put that on top. And there we go. We'll hit play. Oh wait, where did that happen? Where did that finger come from? What happened?
Did you delete it by accident?
Something happened.
The finger, the new shirt was there. You gotta go back to your history or something.
Wait, there it is. It's right here.
It's not showing on the gap.
Oh,
yeah, you just gotta move.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Good eye.
See, that was a problem with the.
Yeah.
I thought there was a way to fix it.
Yeah.
Photoshop thing, fix it.
Yeah. Oops, I don't know why that thing came up. There we go. I'm gonna hit play.
Okay. Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at that, Vicky. We got you. You ask. You got it. We got you.
And then
I mean, he got you. I'll just put the pressure.
The card switches. There
That's
we go.
great. Look at that.
It doesn't look that bad. It looks pretty good.
No, it's good enough.
Yeah, and then we can work on the mask and make it better. See, like at this point, now, this is why I like working with smart objects, right? Because let's just say that this is a client piece, and the client said, it looks good, but the mask. All right, we can fix the mask. We can come in here, double click on it, and the selected mask workspace, you can, smooth it out, fix any imperfections, like, I don't know why that's showing. Whoops, I made it worse.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
On the timeline with the keyframe, right? Is there like a graph you can work on?
No, not like
okay,
Premiere.
so it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. Okay,
no.
I was just curious because I made some very basic animation in Photoshop. It's great to just create like a PNG, maybe making like part of the background move is perfect. But I never went like super deeping into that, so I wasn't sure if there's like a. The reason why I asked that is because like you can do the animation of like ease in and out, so it's like your hand doesn't move just like this; it go like a little bit over and back. It's like an animation fundamental.
Right.
So obviously we all know that, but can you do this showing this? But I was just curious,
I mean, Photoshop is not an animation program, but it's powerful, and
I see some people do some crazy animation. I was like, how do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah,
this looks pretty good.
Yeah, not
magic trick.
So yeah, I don't know who was the person
Vicky,
was.
Vicky on YouTube. She's like, "Can you move the hand?" I was like, "I'll ask."
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like challenges like that. And I don't know why, but I love the way the card switches. That's the magic.
The card switch is actually pretty cool, because at first I was like, oh, okay, like throwing the card, and then like when you did the change, I was like, oh, that's really cool, and then a little flash, I was like, oh, okay, I see you.
And by the way, you're wondering if you want to save this, just click on the flyout menu here and click on render video, and then you can just go through the options that is gonna come up. So you can export this as an MP4. The format is here. You can choose whatever you like, and then the options that you want.
What are some like easy setting? Just
just default. Like as you can see, it doesn't have that much.
So it wouldn't like slow everything down.
Right.
So you have 1 minute. Is there anything else you want to add on there? No, make the
Let's
glasses
make his
move
glasses
up and
come
down.
up,
Make
yeah,
his
yeah.
hair flow up.
Actually, we could make the glasses come up now that I think
make the
about it.
chips like floating.
Yeah.
No, we're not gonna do that. So yeah.
Awesome, everybody. Well, thank you so much. It was really awesome being here with you guys. We had a lot of fun. As you guys know, I like challenges. We got more Adobe Live coming up. We got
please stick
Brittany
around.
coming up. Brittany joins with me. I'll be hosting her. I'll be sitting here.
Yeah.
She'll be sitting here. And we're going to have a lot of fun. And after Brittany, I think I take a break. And then I come back and show you guys more magic with Adobe Photoshop.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned.
Thank you,
One more
everybody.
session.
Yep. Bye. This class is all about the adjustment brush. We're gonna open up this portrait. I wanna show you guys the 3-dot icon here, which is the edit toolbar panel. The adjustment brush is right here. Also, one of the other new features is the selection brush. So those are the 2 new brushes inside of Photoshop. The big deal is that you can create an adjustment simply by painting over an image. It's just a little dark under his eyes there, so maybe I can fix that by going into the adjustment brush tool. So you'll notice that from the adjustment dropdown, we have all the adjustments here. So I can just simply choose curves, and I'm just going to paint over that area like so. I can now come in and make further adjustments. Notice how when you adjust the curves adjustment layer, you inadvertently add saturation to the image. You can just click on the drop down menu here and choose luminosity. So look at the difference between luminosity and normal. See how it gets darker without increasing the saturation. So for me, one of the best tools is the spot healing brush tool. I recommend that you create a brand new layer and click on sample all layers. For example, if I wanted to minimize the wrinkle here, what I like to do is use the modes. These are basically blending modes. If this blemish, distraction, wrinkle, whatever it is that you're trying to remove or minimize, is it darker than the skin tone or lighter than the skin tone?
Okay.
So in this case is darker. Right? So you want to lighten it. And then when we paint, we didn't destroy any of the texture. What I can do now is press Control-Shift-F, brings us into the fade command. Now this is very, very important. You will not have access to the fade command if you do anything else in Photoshop after applying that spot healing removal. So it needs to be done immediately after you make that adjustment. It's got an opacity slider, so notice how I can just reduce the opacity. See that? So now I still have my skin texture. I still have the highlights intact. It's still there. You can still tell that it's him, but it's not as intense and not as distracting. And there you go, before and after. So I was just in Rome a week ago. You know, there's a lot of tourists in Rome, so you can use GenFill to remove tourists from a photo. This is the old workflow, right? Lasso tool, make a selection, click on Generative Fill, and generate. The new workflow is the selection brush tool. I'll use the bracket keys to adjust my brush size, and I can very quickly come in here and I can just click on Generative Fill, leave the prompt blank, and generate. And there you go. Fantastic results. Look at that. Then you can just, keep doing that over and over again. Notice that I didn't really have to switch tools or anything. I can just come in here. Usually what I do, by the way, is I put everything into a smart object to work non-destructively. For those of you that don't know, a smart object is a container that can hold one or more layers where you can apply non-destructive adjustments, distortions, filters, and transformations. What does that mean? It just means you can keep changing it, and it's cool. You can always go back. What I like doing is going into Camera Raw Filter, the geometry tool, this one here. I usually just click on auto and see if it fixes the perspective, and it does. See that? It just makes it seem so much flatter, right? Isn't that cool?
Well, Jesus, this has been amazing. You have shown us tip after tip and walked us through all of the latest and greatest in Photoshop. So thank you so much for being here and for everything that you've shown us.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Everybody, thank you so much. How's it going? Welcome back to another Adobe Live. We were just here just a minute ago. And here I am with Brittany, and we're going to be doing an Instagram facelift, I believe.
Yes!
Yeah, in Adobe Express.
I'm so excited to be back with you all. And you know, when I come in, I'm here to talk about socials.
Ooh.
And also, I feel like every time I've been here, by the way, everybody's had the cutest stickers on their laptop. My OCD is like, I need to be able to take something off if I'm putting it on. Curious to know from the live viewers if you have stickers on your laptop, or if you're like me and you didn't want to kind of commit that hard, so I got a case to put them on. So yeah, we're having a little sticker moment over here.
I've never had a sticker on my laptop.
I was the same way, and it was like, I just didn't want to commit that hard, you know?
Yeah. And actually, I've never changed the background on my phone either. It's always been whatever the default is.
Stop.
Yeah. Or also my computer, my background. Never customize them. Whatever it is, it is.
It's like everyone's different. I'm so the kind of person, I love customizing things. And actually, Adobe Express, so underrated for creating iPhone or phone wallpapers. So try that out if you haven't already.
There you go. There's Ted in the chat. Hey, Ted. Clever. Good to see you. Jeff, everybody, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so excited. So we're going to jump in and we're going to start making over an Instagram feed. So popping up on this screen here, I'm actually going to pull up my Instagram page for you guys just to show you what we're currently dealing with. I am somebody who, it's so funny. There's a saying that goes, you know, the mechanic's car gets fixed last. It's kind of the same thing in social media. Like, I'm so focused on all of our clients' pages. The last thing that I'm doing is focusing on my own content.
Right.
Especially if it's not for my business. So for those of you who don't know me, I run a marketing agency called Socials and Stilettos. Everything is pink. That is my branding. I'm obsessed. It's just my thing. And on my personal page, I am trying to really kind of position myself as a content creator that shares CEO lifestyle and some social media tips. But like I was saying, right now there is no direction to anything that I'm posting. It's kind of all behind the scenes moments of things that are going on. So I'm really hoping that today we can kind of give it a little bit of a direction, create some graphics that are going to align with my audience, maybe some fun quotes.
That'd be fun.
And go into it from there and update my profile photo as well. So let's go ahead and jump in.
Let's do it.
So I have started with just a square canvas. And the first thing that I love to do when I'm updating any Instagram profile is to start with the profile photo. So I'm going to go ahead and first things first, choose a background color that is in my brand colors so that I can put a photo of myself on here using the background remove tool. Have you used it yet?
Yeah,
in Adobe Express?
definitely.
Are you obsessed? Are you loving it?
I love it. It's fantastic. You know, I'm a Photoshop person, and then when I see easy to use one-click solutions in Adobe Express, I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible.
Yes, I'm the same way. And I think one thing that I will say with profile photos is a lot of people don't realize, like, oops, they'll put up a photo of themselves, or they won't put a photo of themselves. They'll put their logo there. And nobody really cares about your logo if you are a one-person show. They want to see the face behind their brand. So being able to really have a photo of yourself and, you know, let people connect with the face behind the brand is super important. And it's just going to humanize your page. And people love seeing people. That's really what it comes down to.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and choose a photo of myself. I'm going to see maybe from my last shoot. I do love this one.
How do you decide which photo you use?
I'm the worst person for this. I love all the photos so much, and I know that might sound like a little funny, but I truly am somebody who, like, I spend a lot of time creative directing my shoot. So I know exactly what I want to do before getting into a photo shoot. And a lot of the times I'm like, okay, but like, what is the one photo that I want to use as my profile image? Like, what's that one thing that I want to be known or seen for? So it can get a little tricky sometimes, but I would say, like, definitely try to choose something that really shows well. Like, I probably wouldn't use a photo like this of myself. It's too serious and like might come across a little bit unwelcoming for some people, you know, like they might be like, wow, like she really like is a little intimidating there. So I think we're going to go ahead and go with this one.
That's a good one.
And the first thing I'm going to do is hit that background remove tool, and it is going to work its magic.
Wow.
This is like my favorite part. It's like I did not have the time to manually go in and do that.
I like how excited you got.
It's like you really you have to have fun with it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bigger. And something that I love to do is take in from my elements a circle shape. And this is like a little hack or trick for you guys. And I'm going to make this just as big as the page here. Probably there is good. And I'll bring down the opacity. And then I can see underneath like how big my profile photo is. And if, for example, the photo was cut off, like you can see on this side, my arm is obviously cut off there. You can go ahead and kind of like zoom in to where you know nothing's going to be cut off in your photos. So here I'm kind of, right now, really what I'm just doing is kind of positioning my profile photo where I want it to be. And you can also see that I've pulled in my brand color in the background. So when really I remove that circle, people are going to see my brand color. It's going to help with brand recognition. And it's a beautiful photo of myself smiling. So like, right? So much fun.
Setting up yourself for success in Instagram.
Exactly. So profile photo, just like that, done and good to go. How easy was that?
So the fact that on the right-hand side we have that missing piece, it wouldn't matter because the circle is going to go over that.
Exactly. So you can see the circle is just covering that. Actually, let me bring this out a little bit more. And yeah, you can see when it crops into Instagram or whichever profile that you're using. I want to say social media platform, not profile. Whichever profile photo you're uploading, 9 times out of 10, they are already in that like circle shape. I think Facebook might be the only one that shows as a circle, but when you click to open it, it's actually a square photo. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, no, I don't ever worry about it. I know as long as within that circle shape, everything is fitting well, it's in the center, it doesn't feel like anything's kind of not meeting the edge of the circle, that you're good to go.
Yep.
Amazing. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and start a new file, and we're going to do the same thing and choose square as the shape. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and update our highlight covers, which is going to be so much fun. So I love to, again, start in a square canvas, I want to say, because I just find it easy when you put that circle shape in there and you can kind of see what you're doing, that you know this just tends to work better when you're uploading it. So anybody who has highlight covers on Instagram, I'm curious to know if you create the same way, or how do you create your highlight covers?
Yeah, let us know in the chat.
So I'm just going to go ahead and first start off by choosing my background colors here and choosing a few of my brand colors and making a few slides. I'll say we'll do 5.
Okay. What are your categories?
So I like to do my highlights based off of my content pillars. So oftentimes, like, I'll do something for social media, something for, agency life, which is kind of sharing the behind the scenes of me running a marketing agency, something that's more lifestyle, because I think that needs its own content pillar. And then I always love to have one for press, because I do a lot of things behind the scenes where I go and speak at either events or I'm collaborating with other I want to say platforms or creators. So I love to kind of have that there so that people can easily find that. Okay.
By the way, if you have any questions, let us know in the chat. We'd be happy to answer them.
And I just love seeing all the colors and how they work together too. I can actually organize these a little bit better. Maybe see if we have something a little bit lighter here. I might go with this one. See how that works with it. Gives it a nice little like pump of brightness.
Jeff Miller says, Brittany, you have a beautiful smile.
Oh, thank you so much. That literally you're making me blush.
Which ironically is your brand color.
I know. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and do a little bit of a mixture of highlight covers. I like, and you'll notice this on my page, I like to have a little bit of differentiation, I guess you can say, between the highlight covers, and I don't like them all to look the same. I know a lot of people choose to have like just solid colors, or they might have all the same kind of text. I like when I can kind of diversify them a bit and make them look a little bit more creative, especially being in the creative industry. So I'm going to go ahead and first start by adding one with some text and go from there. Also, I'm curious to know what everybody's favorite font is. Like, if you could only use one font for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh.
What's your go-to?
What's your go-to?
Mine is Poppins, if you
Poppins?
can't tell.
Okay.
I don't know. I just feel like it's cute. It kind of has its own moment. I was a Montserrat girly. I don't know if
Okay.
that's how you say it, right? Montserrat?
Sure,
Montserrat?
it sounds perfect.
Okay, we're going to
Let us
go
know in
with
the
that.
chat if that's the right pronunciation.
I was a Montserrat girly for a long time, and then I just got like so sick of it. I felt like everybody was using it, and I just got really tired of kind of seeing the same thing everywhere. So now don't go running and start using Poppins everywhere, because like that's my font, guys. So I need a little something for myself here.
I like Proxima Nova. I use it on, because it's got a lot of different weights. That's why I like it.
That's so nice. I definitely feel like, you have to kind of, everyone has a font that they feel like they are drawn more into.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, for me, I also love how, like, bubbly Poppins is on its own, too. Like, it just has a little bit of a vibe to it.
Lisa in the chat is saying, I suck at fonts. I love, capital letters, that Adobe Express gives me great suggestions.
I love that. I know fonts and pairing fonts can be hard for a lot of people. I think it's something and you know what I thought for the longest time? I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, people are like, there's got to be like a hidden guidebook somewhere of like, how do you pair fonts? I don't think it really is just kind of trying a bunch of things and seeing what works together.
It's not as easy as like looking at the color wheel and seeing like the opposite color, you know?
No.
I've seen designs where they break every rule and it looks great, and I've seen designs that follow every rule and they're terrible. So
Yes.
agency life.
So that's kind of where I think I'm going to post a lot of the behind the scenes of running my marketing agency. This looks so cute with how the way that this is displaying on the screen for y'all.
Yeah.
I'm like, can I just put my face here and make myself the highlight cover? So cute. But no, I think we're going to share a lot of behind the scenes stuff here in this one about what it takes to kind of run a marketing agency, and a little bit more about my agency I think would be great kind of content to put in here. And actually, now that we're talking about that, I think what I'm going to do is pop into my brand section. And you can actually see I have a lot of different brand kits uploaded here. So if anybody is ever, working with multiple brands, if you're an agency like me, or maybe you're somebody who, runs a podcast, or you have different brand pillars or divisions and you have multiple brand assets that you work with, this brand kit section was a game changer because I can easily like pop between. You saw I was just in my personal brand palette, now I'm in my agency, and it's so effortless and easy.
Jeff said, Brittany, don't blush. You made this appear. I'm guessing you'll match the background. I'm guessing is that what he's...
Probably. I love that.
Cody Bear in the chat. Hey, Cody Bear, how's it going? Good to see you. Carol?
So I want to add one of these icons. These are my agency icons. Obviously, you can see with this background and the colors, it's not going to work because it's almost falling into it. So I'm going to go ahead and change this up just a little bit so that we can see everything that we're working with.
I love the comment in the chat. Lisa said, it's hard to admit we cannot be perfect at everything. Carol responded, I hate it when I'm human.
It's so true. That kind of looks
That looks super cool. Yeah.
And then I'm wondering if we leave the little stiletto tilted like straight, or should we tilt it a little bit? Maybe give her a little sassy moment
Yeah,
there.
you go. That's a good word, sassy. Let's make it
Yes.
sassy. You can never be too sassy.
We're ditching the make it pop and we're going with make it sassy for the rest of 2024, y'all. Okay, so we have, what do we have here? We have CEO lifestyle, we have agency life. Maybe now what we'll do, let me see what I have here. Definitely need a behind the scenes one. that I think everybody should have, because we're all always doing things behind the scenes. And sometimes you want to save those fun behind the scenes moments, and you don't necessarily want to have them cluttering your other highlights. So having something behind the scenes would be super cute. I'm thinking maybe I'll look for a video camera and see what. I also hate typing live. My spelling is horrible, guys. So, okay, let's see what pops up. Maybe a cute little icon. This is cute.
That's good. There's a question in the chat. Jeff is asking, couldn't you just put a drop shadow on the logo? I think earlier when it wasn't matching.
I'm sure you probably could. Like, I wonder, honestly, like, really, for me, I think, like, there is so many different fun ways that you can do that here, like with the effects, or you can go into adjustments. You can also do this. This is something that's really cool. I'll show you guys. Sometimes I'll make a duplicate version of, I want to say, whatever photo I have in there, and then I'll go into effects. Duotone's like my life. I love duotone. You can go in, and we're not going to do blue, but we'll go in and do maybe like my light white color behind. And sometimes what I'll do is just kind of almost create a little bit of an outline behind. So we'll just bring this up a little bit.
There you
See
go.
how it just kind of makes it pop a little bit more. So yes, the answer to that is there's a lot of different things that you can do. I think the more that you sit and you play around with things and you see what you like, and again, it's personal preference. So if you're somebody who loves a little shade and a shadowy moment, feel free to add that in. But I think it's just playing around with everything, and having fun, I think, is the most important thing. I'm curious to know, like, is there a certain video camera that you like? Like,
video camera, wow.
I know. This is also kind of cute. This is very branded for me with the little heart in the middle.
Yep.
I just feel like I
That
don't
definitely
even need to
fits,
do anything. It's like this was made for me, this one. It's not necessarily a video camera, but I will say I film on like a standard kind of Canon camera, so this might actually fit my brand a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, and I do want to leave the background color the same. Maybe we bring in a neutral color, or make this like that little kind of off baby pink, purple tone is kind of cute. Does anybody give custom names to their brand colors? Do you do this?
No, I don't. Do you?
I do. I rename all of my brand colors.
What kind of names you like?
So I feel like I always try to think of things that I'm going to remember and they're going to be easy for me. So for our Socials and Stilettos brand, for example, like this one here is called Baby. This is Blush. This here is, we call this Team Socialistas because that's our signature color.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, I do kind of, and then when we're communicating with one another, I find it easy sometimes because you're like, oh, can you just change that to Team Socialistas pink?
And then everybody
and
knows
then everyone knows, and you're
Yeah.
not trying to be like, can you change that to hex code
Yeah.
E3
Yeah.
00? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's funny, but again, you got to almost find things that work for you.
It makes
Okay.
a lot of sense though.
For sure. And then we'll do one for media. So let's see what pops up if we type in media. I'm looking for something that feels more like official.
Are these more like,
see.
newspapers and stuff like that, or articles?
Yeah, exactly. Like inside of that one right now, let's see what's in there. I have obviously Adobe Express stuff,
Yeah.
some other Adobe Express stuff. On our agency, that's a really good example of one. We have this here where it kind of goes through all of the different articles, awards, things that we've been featured in, podcasts we've been on. So this is how I really want to use this on my personal page. You see nothing there right now because, again, it needs love, guys. That's why we're here, and I'm like keeping myself accountable to do this with everybody. So I think maybe let's ask the chat, should we do maybe a heart emoji, or should we do a newspaper to represent press? Let's see what everyone says. And let me find an option of both
Yeah.
so that we can kind of see what we like better. Newspaper. There we go.
Cody
spelling.
Bear says newspaper, so newspaper's up by 1.
These are super
Yeah,
cute.
I like it that some of those say news on it, so it kind of...
This is also adorable because I don't know if anybody else is noticing that, but there's
Yep,
a podcast
yep.
mic in there. So I feel like that is super cute. The only thing I don't like is that it says news. That's not the term that I would use. So maybe we find something that's a little bit more generic and a little bit more no other funny words added. I'm going to go back up to the top. I feel like there was one I saw up here that I loved.
Jeff is also saying newspaper, so I think newspaper is definitely winning.
Okay. Let's do the newspaper. I kind of like this one where it's open. It's like an open book, I think. That's cute. And actually, I feel like if we look at that next to the other one, they kind of fit really well together.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's a good call not to have the word news on it.
Yeah, like you just kind of want to, I want to say, keep things, keep curiosity open to people of what's in there too, and not misrepresent your highlight covers, because if I'm going to call it something like press or collaborations or, you know, whatever I'm going to call that, you don't want it to kind of contradict with what's in the actual image.
Terry's saying, what about a newspaper with a heart?
That would be cute. I wonder if that's even an option.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can add some like floating hearts above it and kind of create our own custom.
Yeah.
That would be cute.
I like that idea.
Let's see, hearts.
I'm sure you can definitely, yeah.
Yes, this is exactly what I was thinking. Maybe
Yep.
we can add some
Oh, look at that.
little ones up above, maybe. Maybe not this one. Let's see. Kind of want something where they're kind of floating up. Or even maybe something like this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That could be cute. I feel like it's going to be too small, anything that I choose. You might not be able to see it. So maybe we'll leave that out. There's some really cute elements and icons in here. Have you guys ever taken a second to like scroll through? There is like millions of different options in here. This is so cute, this one too. Actually, this would be great for maybe something if you're a content creator who gets a lot of PR packages. That would be a cute little fun emoji.
Unboxing kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. If you do a lot of unboxings. I know that's really big in our space, beauty, fashion, lifestyle. There's a lot of different unboxing related things that you can do. So that's always fun. And then let's see. I think the only other one maybe I want to add is also tips. So that's something that
Ooh, that would be
share.
What are you thinking about using for tips?
So I think for that, we do things called like Socialista tips. And every week we share a different social media related tip that's super easy and straight to the point and doesn't take a lot for people to kind of figure out or you know, implement on their own. So I think having something for that where maybe it's a place we can just share.
Can you give us an example of a good tip? I'm curious to
Yeah.
know.
Okay, so one Socialista tip would be in your Instagram profile, always use, so this is, you have two places that are SEO optimized on Instagram. So if somebody searches for somebody who does what you do or somebody in your niche or somebody to help them with whatever services that you provide, your Instagram handle and your nameplate, which is this section here, are the only two places that are SEO optimized when somebody types into the search bar and is looking for social media, let's say. When somebody types that, you're going to find people that have that listed in one of those two places.
And I noticed that the description had social media manager like as
Exactly.
the first part of their description. Or
Exactly. So I'll, you know, for example, this is the worst thing that you can do is have the same thing in your username as your nameplate section because you're losing prime real estate. So if your username is your personal name, like mine is Brittany Megan, then in my nameplate spot, I might still want to put Brittany and then maybe put a line and say social media strategist and content creator, right? So that's why you'll notice with Socials and Stilettos, it says our brand name is the profile handle. And then under here, it says social media marketing and PR agency, so that if somebody is searching for a social media marketing or PR agency, that they can easily find somebody in their niche and what they're looking for. So that is the Socialista tip of the day for everybody.
Amazing. Love it. Jeff is asking in the chat, can you break up an icon into parts, removing the lines in the page and put a heart in it?
That's a great question. Do you know if we can do that?
I don't know if we can, actually. I don't think you can break up, like I know you can in Illustrator, of course, but I don't know if you can do it in Express.
I definitely feel like my first, I want to say, reaction or first answer to that would be if you want something customized, Illustrator is going to be your best bet. But that's not to say that you can't combine different elements and find things that work really good together. Okay.
Very good question.
I love all the questions, though. Keep them coming. If we can't answer them, I'm sure somebody can.
Absolutely. What I'm thinking, though, is you might be able to generate something using Generative AI in Express. So that might be an option.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure there's a new feature in Illustrator. Is it text to vector? So that might work too if you're looking for something custom and you want to play around with a little bit of AI. Okay, so we have our 5 highlight covers, and look how cute those look together. And again, same thing, if you are looking to see if they are going to fit within that kind of circle parameter that you have to work with, you can always drop in, should work, there we go, a circle shape and see where they're fitting. So this one's good to go. I think all of them will be fine. I've learned over the years where to kind of play and where my cutoffs are. So, and you get that with time. So this one's perfect.
So Cody Bear in the chat is saying, I don't think you can directly because it's a solid PNG, but you could find a workaround hack essentially by covering the lines with shapes that are the color of the background to make it look like it's not there. And then put a heart on top of that.
That's exactly what you could do. I wouldn't even have thought of that. And that is called like being master of all trades, because let me tell you, that will take a bit of work, but it will get the job done. Okay, so we have all of our highlight covers. Obsessed, love this, good to go. Now we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna search the template library. And also, can we just take a second to say, like, I've literally done half of the work in half an hour because Adobe Express is that amazing and easy to use for everybody.
And you probably would have done it in 5 minutes had we not been talking, explaining, answering questions.
It's so true. So I'm gonna go back to my home screen and we're gonna go ahead and search for a quote template. So I'm gonna search quote and see what comes up. We're going to look and filter this out by templates. And then we can also look for, believe, specifically different types of templates. So you can also look for different moods. So if you're somebody who likes things to be a little bit more neutral, you can choose that and filter out however you like. I am just going to go through and look for something specifically that I think I can make work for my brand. So something like this is actually really cute. And I do love that it's already kind of shaped in that square format for me. I also love this. I will show you something really cool. So let's say you find something that you want to work with and you see it in a size that is not necessarily a size to the type of graphic that you're trying to work within. So this is sized for Instagram stories. I want to make it something that works for Instagram feed. So what I'm going to go ahead and do and choose the resize button. And I am going to choose Instagram Square Post. And then I will hit resize, and just like that, it's good to go. And we can use all of those same elements in the graphic right for Instagram. So that is really cool. Another thing that is awesome is you can duplicate your page. And then if I want to go back and resize it to Instagram story, I have now in the same project.
Super cool.
Same project, multiple different sized projects. Social graphics, whatever you want to call them. And this is so amazing because if you're like me and you don't like having a cluttered home feed with all of the different projects, and let's say you have one graphic, but you need it sized to Pinterest, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all these different places, you don't have a million different projects. It's literally one thing, one place that's hosting all of your different sized projects with the same content. So I love it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and you're going to notice nothing about this graphic is going to look the same when I'm done with it. I just really love using templates as a way to find a base for what I want to create, not necessarily for it to be like the end thing for me. I just really pull elements that I like I was saying, and then kind of figure out what I don't like. Like this is not really me down there. So maybe what I'll do instead is pop in with one of my logos I think would be cute in the bottom. So let's go ahead and find something to add there. Thinking maybe this one.
It's funny because you're right. It doesn't look the same at all.
Totally different.
But you saved a ton of time.
Exactly, because I didn't have to think when I was jumping in there, like, how am I gonna create this? Where do I start? It gave me the starting ground, and I think if you look at templates that way and you kind of work through them and make them work for you versus trying to make your content work for a template, that's like a good, somebody needs to put that on a t-shirt. That was a really juicy tip. But I feel like if you kind of look at it that way, you're always going to be able to create effortlessly because you're not trying to put maybe like the best example is, there's those wooden games with all the different shapes and you're trying to jam a square peg in a round hole. I think that's the best way to explain it. Make the templates work for you. Don't be afraid to play around with them and see what works best where. And have fun with it is the biggest thing. And don't be afraid to move things around. Like worst case, you can always go back to that same original template or find something else that works better for you. I did love how they kind of have the, I want to say italicized text, so I think I'm going to do the same. It's funny because this quote is so cute. I almost want to leave it there, but we'll change this to be a stiletto in a room full of flats. Very socials and stilettos of me. Very branded. Very demure. Is anybody on the demure trend?
Let us know in the chat. What does that quote mean to you?
This just means similarly to how you would say be a flamingo. There's a saying, I can't even remember it now because I've made it my own. Be a stiletto in a room full of flats. But don't be afraid to stand out, be unique, shine in what makes you you. Everybody is their own person and you are your biggest superpower. So don't be afraid to stand out and go against the grain and do things that are a little bit more unique to you.
Completely agree, 100%.
Maybe what we'll do is kind of play around with doing pop-ins without it being italic. Maybe we'll do regular and then we'll make stiletto. Italic. Cute. We'll do this too. I think I want to bold this a little bit more. I have to go back and do that in a second.
Jeff in the chat said, "Thank you so much for the insights. I'm a solo creator and I love being to bounce off ideas." Thank you so much. Mia in the chat said, I'm more of an old pair of Chucks in a room full of stilettos.
I love that. And again, same thing. So don't even worry about it. To be honest, I'm wearing flats right now. It's not very branded of me. I love the look of stilettos. They're not the funnest to walk in all the time, though. Okay, how cute is that? I want to move over so you guys can see the little BM down there. Super cute. Oh, thank you. It looks so cute, and I feel like it is perfect for my branding. I want to actually see quotation marks, what other options we have. My OCD is kicking in, and I'm like not crazy about the shape of this. So I'm going to try to see quotation mark. Let's see what happens. Oh, I love this one. This is a little bit more, I even feel like it works with my font a little bit better because they're a little bubbly, right?
Yeah.
Again, not being afraid to play around and change things. If you ever pull an element that you can't change the color, this is where duotone comes in handy. I'm going to go back to effects, custom, and I'm going to actually just use this dropper tool to make it exactly the same color.
There you go. Easy peasy.
Again, those little workarounds, I'm here for all of it. Okay, so we have one quote. Again, look at how different that is. Crazy, right? And we're going to go ahead and duplicate this, and I'll do 2 other quotes. Can we ask the chat, can you give me 2 inspirational quotes to put in these graphics? I'm curious to see what everyone comes up with.
You can just let us know your favorite inspirational quote.
Yes. And I'm going to, in the meantime, go ahead and get all my elements ready so that we're good to go.
I'm trying to think if I have a favorite inspirational quote. I don't know if I do.
It's hard on the spot, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I have one. Now I'm going to have to go find one.
It's always good to have. You get asked in awkward settings, sometimes group settings, and it's always good to have one just in case you get asked.
I feel like Yoda from Star Wars has a whole bunch of them. I just can't think of any.
Yes.
Is it? I think there's one that he says, there is no try, only do, or something like that.
Oh, that's a good one. There's no try, only do. Right?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And then Cody Bear said, people say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day. Winnie the Pooh.
I love that.
When you can, Jeff said, when you can't stand up, stand out.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, let's do that. That's a good one. When you can't
stand up,
stand up,
stand out.
Stand out.
Exclamation mark, if you like.
I see. I was like, we need the explanation point at the end.
Do or do not. There is no try. That's what he said. Thank you, Mia. Do or do not. There is no try.
This isn't trademarked, but it's fine. Do or do not. There is no try. Okay, perfect. Okay, how are we loving all these colors working together? It's very branded and very pink, by the way. It's very cute. Okay, I like the bright pink for sure. Looks so cute. Okay, I think the only one that I want to maybe change the background on is this middle one so that they work a little better together of where I'm going to place them in my feed, I'm thinking, and maybe not this color, maybe this one.
Jeff said, yay, thanks for using my quote. It's from the Push Girls TV series. I don't think I'm familiar with it.
Oh, I don't think I've heard of that one. These are so cute. Okay, so I think what we're going to do now is we are going to download these. We have about 20 minutes left, so I'm going to play around with my feed a little bit.
Okay.
And then maybe work on another graphic together.
Ooh, fun.
So I'm going to show you how to do this. We're going to download all these pages. And I had actually created a mock-up Instagram feed here in Adobe Express. So these are all just placeholder elements right now. I just kind of wanted to see how things are going to work together and how they're going to look, and then kind of just go from there. So let's go ahead and start dropping everything in. Okay, I'll just resize these to the size of that little square. This is something that I love to do. If you're somebody like me who wants to kind of see your Instagram feed before you start to post things, I'm a very visual person. I think we probably all are here as creators. Like, you want to be able to make sure that things are sitting really well and that the colors you're working with are working together, or that everything's kind of following a certain aesthetic. Curious to know if that's something that matters to you in the chat. Do you pay attention to your Instagram aesthetic?
Yeah, let us know. Oh man, I certainly do not. I'm feeling I gotta go on Adobe Express and give my Instagram a facelift after this stream.
I do feel like it's one way or the other. People often, like, they either really care super intensely about their aesthetic or they don't care. And I think it's hard in the creative industry too, because obviously, like, you're so creative, you're working with different colors all the time. I know even sometimes having brand colors is a struggle, right? I'm going to make this into a square.
Jeff is saying that Push Girls was a reality TV series about a group of girls in wheelchairs who live everyday life.
Oh, wow.
And it was very inspiring for him.
I love that. I'm definitely going to have to check it out. Love this little stilettos photo here. These are all from my last brand shoot.
How often do you have brand shoots?
I would say, like, I try to do them more, but I feel like realistically I can say once a quarter, because
That's quite
you think
often.
it's still, you think it's often? I feel like I used to do them every month because I always wanted fresh new things to post on social media, and like then I feel like at the same time you kind of have to like set realistic expectations with yourself. Look how cute this is all working together.
It looks great.
Like, I'm not even like anywhere near done yet, but like, well, I am. I'm being dramatic. We're very close to being finished. But if you look on the, like, where we were starting with my Instagram feed, like this, let me zoom out for you guys. This compared to like where we're at, where are we? Over here. This, so much better. Like, it actually feels like there's some sense of direction to what's going on here. Maybe I'll pull another photo of myself in here.
Lisa in the chat is saying, this is a great guide. I have a wellness client that I need to come up with an Insta quotation plan for posting.
I love that. Question for you. Would you find it helpful, you guys, if we share the remixable template to this in the chat? Let us know, and we can definitely get it sent over for you guys.
Absolutely. I think the answer is going to be yes. My vote is for yes, but we'll see what the chat has to say about that. Alessandra Lopez said, love the pink color palette.
Thank you so much. It's like I was saying, it's like my baby, I swear. What I'm going to do is pull over.
Lisa Carney, yes, please, caps.
Amazing. I promise you guys, bear with us. It will get over. Once I'm done live streaming today, I'm going to send it over to the team. And if it's not in the chat here, you'll find it on the Adobe Live Instagram stories. So make sure, if you're not already following at Adobe Live on Instagram, that you go ahead and do so. And you can even shoot over a DM saying that you popped over from the live stream and just say, I'm looking for the Instagram template. And I'll make sure that you guys get the direct link to that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and let's pull in maybe this photo of myself too. We'll do a little photo of myself as well.
Do you always have the same photographer for all your photo shoots?
I do.
Cool.
I do. You know what? We were so lucky. I've worked with the same photographer for like 7 years now.
Wow.
And I want to say, anybody that's a creative in that industry or a photographer, like, when people are really confident and comfortable with the way that you take their photos, like, they shine through your lens and they will never go anywhere, because that's how I was. I used to hate the way that I was in photos. Like I was not confident at all on camera. And then working with Michelle, like we were really able to work through like different angles that made me feel like my most confident self and really allowed me to shine through her lens. And now I feel like I show up to shoots and I'm so excited and they're so fun. And again, it just comes down to like getting comfortable being on camera and finding the person that lets you feel comfortable behind their lens too.
I need to talk to Michelle.
She's amazing. Okay, so let's go back to the home screen. We are in such a good spot. I know we have a few minutes left. I'm thinking I want to show you guys maybe how to do a little bit of like a shoppable collage. We're going to see how we can work through that. Being that I didn't download any things to shop from to add into there. So we're going to use the stock image library and see what comes up and have a little bit of fun with it. So in this case, I already have a vision for what I want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start from scratch and we're going to do a Instagram square post. Open that up. I'm going to start by putting my background color in as always. We'll do this. This pink looks cute. And we're going to go through and I'm going to look for ring light. Let's see what comes up. Let's say I'm making a graphic on my must-have content filming tools. So gotta have a ring light, that's for sure. This is where this background remove tool is gonna come in so handy. Go ahead and take that. And then
look at that, incredible. Got
so much fun.
Kept the cable in and everything.
And then let's say I didn't want the cable. I believe you can go ahead and take that right out.
Wow.
That's so much cleaner.
Yeah, way better.
Right? We don't just have a random cable popping out there.
See, the thing is that it's so good that it kept cable.
Yes. It's so good. But then sometimes like you just have your own things that you want to do or you have a vision for something or you don't like the cable. It doesn't work in the graphic that you're working on. So just have fun with it. Let's try lav mic. Let's see if something comes up for lav mics. Oh my goodness. This is why I love the stock image library because like, come on, like everything that you need is right here. So let's see if I can find something that works really well with kind of my vision here. Don't want something that has crazy chords happening in the background. I wonder if I put wireless, if it's gonna.
There are some wires.
There they are. Yeah. Those are lav mics.
I like how we both leaned in and
I know,
squinted.
we're like looking, we're getting ready. Just downloading, and then once it's ready, we're gonna do the same thing, remove the background.
There's a question in the chat that I don't quite understand. Maybe you do, Brittany. Show how to replace or upload highlights, please.
Like how to upload them into the Instagram feed mockup, right? I'm gonna assume that's what we're talking about, I think. For sure, I can show you guys that. Okay, so lav mic's here. So we're gonna maybe do the duotone option that we did before. I always click adjustments instead of effects. It's like, so if you see me doing that a lot, it's just because I get way too excited. I'm clicking all the wrong buttons. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna do this one here. And we'll put this behind. Perfect.
By the way, I like how you group things together so you can move them and distort them at the same time.
Thank you. I've learned a little bit to work smarter, not harder with these things. Okay, so let's add must-have content filming tools as our text. Surprised I typed that all in one go and there was no mistakes.
Wow. I think that deserves a round of applause. I don't think I've ever done that in my life.
Not on live, let me tell you.
I even misspell my name, so if I get something right, it deserves a round of applause. Especially, how many words is that? 5 words.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move this to, we'll do this red color. Pops out really cute. And then I'd like to maybe add like one more thing in here. Other than a ring light and lav mics, I guess we can put a camera. That would be a good one. So let's type in camera. And this looks very similar to the camera that I use. So I'm going to pop this in. I'm curious to know if everybody films reels or anybody who does film reels, do you use a camera or your smartphone? Let me know.
I've always used my camera. Never really a phone.
A phone person. I feel like I am definitely somebody who wants to use a camera, and sometimes the convenience of having a phone, even though I have the camera, it's just my default, I think sometimes.
Yeah, I've always preferred cameras. Like I said, my advanced age, I can't figure out the phone.
You are not that old. You are not that old. I feel like that sometimes too. Like now I think Gen Z, they do the heart. Like I am used to doing a heart like this. There's like a different way people are doing heart. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. It stresses me out.
Just ask people like to roll the window down in your car, and then when you see people doing this,
yes,
that's like me. Or like take a what's the other one? Take a photo.
Yes, and they're doing this instead of this. Oh my, or a phone. It's like we do this, and they're like
old
this.
School, and then they're like, yeah.
We're aging ourselves here, you guys.
Yeah. So my birthday was on Monday, and I am 21 times 2 now.
Oh my gosh, no. Well, happy belated birthday. And secondly, again, that is not old. So that is not old at all.
I'm old enough that I still took typewriting freshman year of high school, not on a typewriter, old school. And I used to ride in my grandfather's car, and he had like an 8-track player in the car.
Oh my gosh.
So, I still know those old school, Betamaxes.
Yeah.
Obviously VHS. So all that fun stuff.
Does anybody remember floppy disks? That was my thing back in the day.
And that's why we have those icons.
Yes.
Now that people are like, wait, why does the save icon that square?
Yes. Okay, let's add a shadow behind this. And I'm going to do maybe a red shadow behind.
Ooh.
Pink shadow behind. Do we feel like that's legible enough? Do you feel like...
Well, see, I don't know if you do this, but what I do sometimes is I'll make it small and big, just so I can see. Because it might look great now, but then if you...
You mean to play with the shadow, or do you mean with the text?
to the actual, how it looks, if you can zoom out of the entire thing,
to
make
like
it
this, you mean?
Yeah. So, make it smaller. Is that legible? Because it's legible there, but if it's going to be a tiny little thing on the phone.
I feel like yes. Do you think?
I think it's very, very legible, yeah.
Okay, we'll go with it for the essence of time.
I like what Jeff said. Jeff said, Jesus, you are one less day from dying young.
I love that.
Yeah, and thank you so much, everybody, for the birthday wishes. Oh, look, Clever is asking the 5 1/4 inch or 3 1/2 inch floppies.
Oh my goodness.
I think I was 3 1/2. I don't think 5 1/4 were the ones those were the bigger ones, right? And then they're the 3 1/2.
I don't even know, to be honest. I'm thinking it was one size for me.
Yeah,
maybe I was at the end of the floppy disk era.
Yeah. And also the other size seems larger, so I feel that the smaller version is the one that I was familiar with. Sean, good to see you. Sean is in the chat.
So what we're going to do is with these...
Oh, cool. So Helena, her birthday was on Monday, just like mine, but she's not sharing her age. Awesome. So we have the same birthday, September 9th, which is the most popular birthday in the world.
September 9th.
September 9th.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm September 27th. So I feel like I'm along with you in the September club, which is so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I will say is whenever I'm doing highlight covers and uploading them, something that you can do is, let me see, I'm going to make this the same color. If you want to see what it looks like in those covers there and you want to see it in the circle shapes, this is how I would do that. So I'm going to go ahead and make this circle the same color that the background is. I will just change the background right now to white or to the light color to show you. And I'm going to go ahead and download this. Or actually, better yet, I'm going to go ahead and do a transparent background. Yes. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and hit download. And once that's downloaded, we can go back over here to our mock-up Instagram feed. And up here, we will drop in our highlight cover with the transparent background. So for, I think, was it Jeff that was asking? You think, maybe?
Yeah, I don't remember who was asking, but, oh, Jeff just said his business involves taking old media and digitizing it. He's seen plenty of VHSs, and one time he did work with a Betamax.
Oh, wow. Wait a second. So, Jeff, question for you. Do you take, like, I guess, family videos that are on VHS tapes and make them, like, onto something that can be on a computer? That's my question, because that's really cool.
Or is it like, you know, Terminator 1 VHS tape, and now the person wants to keep it in digital, or whatever other movie from the 80s.
I love that. Okay, so I'm going to drop this in here.
Fun.
We're updating all these at the same time.
Oh, and actually, it's time to wrap up.
That was so quick.
It was incredibly fast. I felt like we just started 2 seconds ago.
We had so much fun. Just to kind of pop over and show everybody where we're at right now is we were able to get our feed updated for the most part. I'm going to finish this later and post it to my Instagram stories. So make sure that you take a little peek over there at Brittany Megan. And like I said, I promise you this remixable template for this mock-up feed will be shared with you all. So keep your eyes posted on the Adobe Live Instagram for that.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Thank you so much. Bye.
I'm gonna show you the process how to make this, and then we're gonna bring to Adobe Express and animate it. I'll go to Adobe Stock, and there's like the free sections. You can download a free image to use. So these will be the photo we're gonna be use.
Yeah.
And then we are gonna go on to Photoshop. We're gonna build our foreground. W, quick selection tool to remove the sky, move these stars with the background to behind this layer, and we're gonna do a little adjustment layer right here, options, and then clipping mask is the same thing right here, but I like them to like kind of blending more, so I'll probably even just do like a quick color adjustment and maybe turn it a little bit more reddish. Now we're gonna add our moon, create a circle and then mask it, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can drag
absolutely.
it, hold shift to hold that, or you can do option and shift and select somewhere around the center and then just draw a circle like from the center of the circle. So this give me like a very smooth circle-ish. Put this moon somewhere around there. So what I'm doing right now is after I select it, I press Q to enter this quick select mode. So the part that's red means it's not selected, right? So obviously using the brushing tool and then different opacity, you can select different amount of it, right? I'm gonna drag this layer and then hover over this plus sign on the bottom right, and then you let it go so it duplicate the layer that you have already. Delete the layer mask we had before because it's duplicate the whole layer mask.
Yeah.
Our selection is still keep on the left side, right? Click mask, and then now you have the smart object with the new layer mask. So then we're gonna drag our moon behind it. So now you see it give that layers feeling of that. So now we have this. Obviously I want to put a little person in front of it right there, and then I want to put like rocks on the left and right sides. I pretty much just did go on here, quick select, and then get that rock because I just want the rock on the back. So now I have this, layer it, name it. So I'm gonna drag it behind the moon. I'm gonna duplicate it by Ctrl J, Command T, and then flip it, move it back here. But I don't want you to be able to tell that's the same rock. So what I'm gonna do is to make it
Oh, wow.
even bigger. Let's start with hue, saturation, and then color balance right here. This is where I start to paint light into my art. Basically, I turn it brightness all the way down and then go on to layer mask on it and then just hide the part, right? So it looks like there's a light coming out from the moon. Double click on the layer and then do outer glow and inner glow, right? So now it looks like the moon is glowing.
Look at that.
And so we're gonna do this, select subject, and then kind of like put it behind the foreground, circle in. And then there's a layer mask on there already, right? So I'm just gonna create a group and then press it again. So now it's group layer mask, and there's layer mask on that. What we can do is like we can leave that right there, but we might have to reduce the saturation, right? Because the moonlight is like more desaturated compared to like the desert light that we had earlier. So obviously you want to save this file, and then you go on to Adobe Express, right? So you can just directly drag your PSD file to Adobe Express. All I did is importing all the layers into Adobe Express, and then from there you click the layer you want to animate it, and then you go on to animation right here. So if I just delete this, and I can choose all different type of animation, and then you can change the duration of how fast the animation will move, right? And then the directions where it's coming from. Make sure you are on the timeline, editing timeline, show all the layer timing, and you can dragging it by decide when do you want this layer to come in, right? I'm gonna show you guys the final video that I made for this. So this is really fun to make. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Thank you, Ted. Yay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye, you guys.
Hey Adobe Live family, welcome back. I am so excited because we have Ted here.
Hi.
And we were just chatting, and let me tell you, this is probably going to be my favorite part of today.
Oh no, don't say that. Thank you.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna hand the mic over to Ted and let him introduce himself and his amazing work.
Hi everyone, my name is Ted, aka Ted's Little Drink. For those of you who are watching for the first time, it's nice meeting you. For those of you who know me, welcome back. So a little bit about myself, I'm a photographer and a digital artist. So I do like fantasy surreal composite for Photoshop art. So this is like some of my work. You guys probably saw this. This is like the flamingo cloud that I did for Photoshop in 2021. The other cool thing that we were talking about, I think I can show you guys a little sneak peek, is like, so this is I have an art show coming up in October, probably 19th in San Francisco, and I'm turning my digital art into sculptures. So here's like a quick show of like the sculpture I made from that octopus photo that you just saw. I'm turning that, like, you know, bring into real life with resin sculptures and everything, and then show that here. So for anyone that's coming to San Francisco during that time right after Adobe Max, I'll send you an invite and the details, so please come by. But yeah, so this is something I do, and then I'm gonna be here today to kind of go over like brainstorm some ideas and concept with like Fireflies, and then I bring that concept into Photoshop, and then animate it a little bit in Adobe Express. Yes.
I feel like that was such a mic drop moment. Like, I'm like, okay, I am so honored to be sitting next to you right now. So I'm so excited. So where are we going to start? You're going to be working in Firefly first?
Yes.
Okay.
So Firefly is like pretty fun. Like the new Adobe AI like come out. I personally use it to like brainstorm, like make storyboards and everything. But of course, at the same time, we'll also make sure like I have the Photoshop beta open. The only difference is like I think this is on general right now too. There's like Generative Image. You can like click and generate stuff. I have some layer loading here, but I'll just like go over it. I show you like what I'm trying to do. But let's jump into Firefly. So I'm just gonna hit generate. And for people in the chat, how familiar are you guys with Fireflies? Have you used Fireflies a lot?
I have. And
have
you
a
know
lot.
something, I love how within the click of a button, you can have something that kind of shows your vision. And a way that we love to use it as an agency actually is like, when we can't find an inspo photo that's exactly what we're thinking that we want to do, it's a great way to kind of have a concept so that you can recreate that in real life. What I find so cool about this is like there's so many unlimited opportunities to create in this. Question for you is, how do you come up with your prompts?
Exactly. So I was just about to go over that. So sometimes like I don't even have like a prompt set up. But for example, like my artwork kind of based around like inspiration or event that's currently happening. Like someone in the chat earlier, last session, 2 sessions ago, right before yours, they say tomorrow is also Friday the 13th. So right, so that's like something spooky, and then Halloween's coming up, the fall, autumn. So like I was like in my head, I was like, oh, I'll make some prompt that's based on the spooky season, right? And then like pumpkin, the little ghost or anything. So like that's like what popping in my head right now.
Okay.
And even sometimes just like trying different things. So like for example, like what I did, I just clicked that generate, and you can see like it give you like a prompt right away. But you can also scroll down to see like if there's any like other cool prompt that other people use, and then you can like use that to based on that to generate something, right? Because like that's pretty cool. It's like a surreal. So you can get to see like all the different artists what they use Firefly to make and generate like the spooky ghosts. That's really cool. So like for example, if we click, what would be like a cool one? You can pick one. Maybe we click this.
I was gonna say actually the same one.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Great minds.
Yeah. So right, so you click on this, you see like this is like a very complex like prompt, so you can read it over and then like change. Something I personally like to do, I always use like portrait mode because that fits social media a lot. But lately I do feel like I've been creating a lot of like portrait art, so I want to do like landscape and like 16 by 9.
Yes.
But for this case, we'll just stick with that. Content type, I personally prefer photo because I do photorealistic art. So you can pick art too or anything you want. We'll go over the composition for a little bit. In a little bit. Sorry, not for a little bit. In a little bit. Style is just kind of like picking the reference style you want. Usually I just leave it blank. The thing is that I'll click theme. Actually, popular. On the popular, hyper realistic. That's something I always use. So let's see if we can turn the same prompt into a photorealistic photo. And while I do that, I'll also read the prompt to see if there's any keyword I need to take it out because one word usually changes the whole thing,
Wow. So it really is kind of like trial and error and figuring out, I guess, what's working, what's not, and almost like finding the perfect formula, like a math equation. Right?
Yeah, it's almost like that, right? So you can see, like, luckily, everything looks good. All I had to do is changing the prompt. So I actually really like the example here, right? So really something you can also do is, like, for example, if we like this one, say a particular one. If we click here, you can generate like fill to like remove something, replace it, generate similar, use as a composition reference, which will use the same tree and outline and everything to right here, and then generate the other colors and like to replace that. Style reference, just say like this is the style I want. You can even click create design to bring to Adobe Express and become like a poster and stuff. So I'll show you guys all of that in a little bit, but that's first what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna download this real quick and then pop into my Photoshop. And then what I'm gonna do is this is what I'm gonna do. So for example, like I like the composition, I want to use it for the reference, but I want to change it for something else. This is like the fun part where like you can literally just draw some like very simple shape. Let's say like this is where you want the trees. I'm just using this as like a reference.
Right.
So we'll just lower the opacity. For example, if the lake actually wanted to be, let's say maybe there, and I want more tree on the right side, I'm just drawing this. Hopefully this will work. I'll see if this works.
And you're using a drawing pad.
Yeah, I'm using a drawing pad.
So cool, because I really only thought that drawing pads were used for like illustration. I didn't realize that people use them in Photoshop.
It's easier
too.
to use in Photoshop.
Wow.
So what I'm doing right now is that I press F5 loading to all my brush. So I have like a lot of brushes. But what Jesus shows earlier in our session is that you can customize, make your own brushes. So I already have the tree one. So just like, hey, I want more tree here. I'm just like randomly painting it like this. It's just reference. I want to see if Firefly can understand what I'm trying to do, right?
Wow.
And then if I want to do like that, this is just like an example. I don't know how well this is gonna work, but
we're gonna see.
We're gonna try. But I'll show you like an easier one after too. And then maybe I want a house here.
This is so cool. I'm like living in seventh heaven right now. And in the chat, cool things. Lots of people using Firefly as well. We have people who are also have tried using song lyrics as prompts. How did that go for you?
That's really cool. I like that.
I am a huge Swiftie, by the way, you all. So I'm just curious.
What's your favorite song?
How do you choose?
I don't know.
All my wedding songs were Taylor Swift songs. My amazing husband, I'm like, thank you for being amazing. But I would definitely say her new album, The Tortured Poets Department. Love it.
So yes.
Yes. Are you a Swiftie? The answer is yes.
I like her song. I was like, yes.
Like the answer is yes.
I love Sweeties.
I love that.
I'm just writing some prompts. So basically what I did is this is the thing we created. This is like a really okay drawing, pretty ugly. But I drop into composition reference and I'm gonna generate it to see if Firefly will generate something similar to that based on the prompt we just type in. So hopefully that will work. But because I noticed that the tree brush is like very complex, so maybe it doesn't read. But sometimes you can even draw like more simpler stuff, you know.
Okay.
Like for example, while it's generate. Oh yeah, look. So it kind of like read like what I just draw like very basically.
Mind blown.
Okay, so if we just download this, I want to show you like the side-by-side comparison. This is what we just did, right? Lower the opacity, so it's like pretty fun, you know.
Wow.
Does the whole thing. Even did the reflections for me, so I don't even have to like worry about it, which is like the great thing. So it's like pretty fun way. Like, hey, I can't really draw, but I can do some like very simplified like drawing and stuff. And then just like, hey, Firefly, this is what I want. Can you do that? So that's one fun way to create stuff with Firefly. And obviously you can gem fill and change the house. This is not like a super perfect house, but still pretty good. Right. And if we jump into here, you can keep generate similar, or for example, like putting this all the way up is like 100% telling the Firefly. It's like, hey, follow the drawing exactly how I do it. But you can also just lower it 50%. And then see, like, give it a little bit more creative freedom to say, like, hey, try something new, you know? But yeah.
So, do you feel like if you, obviously, the drawing piece is a huge help, because without that, it would have probably taken you a while to get to something like that using prompts, right?
I mean, you can probably use the sand, like, to generate it, but it's just easier to kind of, like, draw, like, a guideline, just like, hey, this is what I really want. So, I really love that feature, just like draw something else, you know, like and you can just upload on there and then just like, hey, Firefly, this is what I want, can you do that? Now if we click like a style reference, I think this might turn it to a pencil drawing, but I'm not sure. You might have to add the prompt pencil drawing and also change the style from photo to art, but we'll try it just to see what it does.
Right.
And since we are gonna do like spooky season and then like something like scary a little bit, feel free to throw in any ideas in chat. I'll see if I can add those into the photo in the final comp. I know Jesus is like ready to like, you know, do some challenges, so I'm a little bit scared what he's gonna type.
I love this. And we have an idea from Jeff that was, can you imagine if a parent or an uncle took their kids' doodles and put them into Firefly to see what would come up?
Yeah, pretty much. So that could be like a very fun like experiment, right? Just like, hey, you know, like they're gonna do this and help them. I think like in a way that will help the kids probably even just like, hey, the potential, like what you can do with your drawing and stuff. So look at this. So this is the pencil sketching style that the style reference we just pick. So it kind of generate the same prompt. I didn't change anything besides changing from photo. I pick it to art and pick this style right here, and then this generate that. So it's just like kind of like a basic walkthrough of Firefly out there. So it's pretty fun.
That is so cool, and that's very whimsical looking too.
Yeah.
Like,
and then change to that, close it. So yeah, if you guys want to try any ideas, let me know, and then we're gonna jump back into Photoshop. My favorite. This is still pretty fun, like from this to that.
Yeah,
you know? It's pretty crazy. I'm gonna delete that. This is the old prompt. I'll delete that too. So that's back to my drawing, my fancy drawing, stick figure professional. You know, this is how I draw a person.
Same.
So good, yeah.
Maybe I'll add a little triangle for
and then
a
you
dress.
put in Firefly, become like a super professional like portrait photo of that.
And I love that you clean up your layers as you go, because I think that's huge. I think like myself, I'm like somebody who like forgets to do that, and you have 30 million layers, and it's like, okay, where are we going now with this?
Yeah, somehow like I just didn't bother to name it. I'll still color code it a little bit. Okay, so the concept I have so far is to like come out like I love treehouse, right?
Okay.
I don't know if you guys love treehouse. It's always like my dream to have one as a kid.
Right.
But anyway, so in one concept I see on internet and the photo reference I showed you before, a cool concept is like, let's say like if there's like a treehouse, I just do like that. Don't judge my drawing, please. Some windows or maybe not like a door, but like instead of like a tree just like under the ground, we'll make it like a lake that's like walking. So it could be like that, and then like that, you know. I have to think about how the lake will move. So basically you can have like human lake, right? It's like going, this is like the knee, this is like the leg connection, this is like the feet goes like there, right? So they like the knee is like bending forward. Or you can have more like bug or like the bird is like kind of like backward. So it's like going
kind of
like
like
that.
the
It's like
feet.
a
Yeah.
You know, you ever watch like Star Wars, like the
Yeah.
ATT, right? So that's like how the legs looks like. Or we can even go crazy as like let's just like put some like fake legs there, right? Because like the treehouse is walking away.
Right.
It's hollow wings, and then we're gonna have like some dark forest and stuff, right? So for example, like if this is the concept I have, like how do I turn this into like Photoshop artwork, right? So we gotta name this as reference, the most beautiful art ever made. So we're gonna start
is so
building
cool.
the scene. So let's start with foggy forest. All right, let's try that. When you type the prompt to, as you asked earlier, right? How do you come up with all the prompts? Sometimes when you type the keyword, the Firefly will also give you like a whole sentence, so you can like click the
Okay.
one you like. That's it's loading right now. Okay. Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Wow.
You see, like if I do foggy forest with the hillside and the dawn, there's like all this like really cool options you can pick. So I'll pick one later. But I see then I like this one.
I
a
was
lot.
thinking that one
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, this one is really good.
And you can
so.
see, like, if you were gonna do the treehouse with the legs, it would work so perfectly
It just
there.
perfectly opens out right there
Yeah.
for me. So we didn't even need to do any like changing on this. This is great. I would just pull that into here.
Jesus
Make
is
it big.
asking.
Oh,
hey,
no.
Hey Ted, is that the same jacket you wore last time?
I don't know. Now you have to pull back the Adobe Live from like a month ago and to see if I'm wearing the same one or it's different color because I had a gray and pink one before.
I love gray and pink.
It actually would
together.
fit with. If I knew you were coming, I would match it because it's like a dark gray.
But I
with,
mean,
like,
I
a
kind of
pink.
matched
Yeah.
you though. Like, look
And
at
the
us.
blue.
There we look
yeah,
great. We're color
working.
coordinated.
Yeah, so we didn't even know that was gonna happen.
I love that.
That's so funny. Where does that prompt go? I don't know if it always pop up. Oh, there you go. Oh, in winter, which one is cool? We have one in winter with lake and waterfall. We have like trees and sunlight. Autumn. Oh yeah, autumn's like pretty good.
I would do odd if you want to go with spooky season and fall. I would say like autumn.
Yeah. Well, just try it. It's free. It's free prompt.
Let's see what it says.
It doesn't cost. Imagine like cost 5 cents for each suggestion. Hey, you want
I
to
would
use
be
this
broke.
prompt? You have to pay 5 cents. You know,
Yeah.
it's like no. So just let it load, and we can jump back to here. So when I see this photo, I mean, you probably have the same feeling too. Sometime here, this is the grid. I have this grid on. I think it's like right here. Always show like the overlay. There's like the rule of third.
Right.
Basically, what I do is I can kind of like have a feeling of where I want my main subject is. So this is how this would look like that, right? So sometimes I like to bring the horizon line a little bit lower to like, so I can even make this bigger. So it's like easy to focus, but I don't want to make it too big because that lost the feeling of it's like surrounded by
like the eerie feeling.
yeah, the area feeling by the tree. So we can pull it around. Like I have this navigator right here, so it's like easier for me to see like the whole comp overall. We don't always have to follow the rule. It could be slightly off, but right now it looks really nice.
Right.
Just like doing that guideline. But let's move all that away. But I'll just like, I can even just play around. Just that maybe I do want more space on the sky because I can always like, you know, Jim fill it, or this should be more straight. Maybe a little bit like that. Okay. Moving a little bit. And so in my head, the house we drew earlier would be like right here floating.
Right. With the legs.
You're gonna be kind of expert at drawing stick figure house after this this live stream. Yeah, right. I just go like that, or like kind of like that, and then in my head I already have like a feeling. It's like I'll probably want to do is like make this really dark, and then jump into this layer, press brush, select a color I want. Right. I'm just gonna do a quick real quick. Do this, you're like, oh, that's ugly. You make your screen so there's like that light from the house coming out, right? And then brush
almost
it
like
up.
it's glowing, like it's spooky.
Yeah, so kind of like this will be like the concept I had in my head right now. So I was like, okay, like I'm gonna work to this while this is being generated. We still have other options to go in. Oh, this is like pretty cool, but it's like very nice and friendly, you know. So you can make like a friendly house, like the haunted house is like very friendly, or it's like not in a good mood.
Right.
Sunlight. So if we take out the sunlight with dark, mood, gray, and then we can probably put blue color, and let's try that. So basically I just took the sunlight out, because if you have the sunlight in there, it has like the sunrise comes in and everything. Okay, so now this is generating. We can look for a cabin. We can think about like a style, so like a house, right? So jump into Adobe Stock. This is one of my favorite site, I guess.
You use it as a resource tool.
Yeah,
right, more
because
than
like
anything.
I have credit, but with all of that, there's the free sessions, right?
Right.
So everything on there is free. So I just type in cabin and then see like if there's anything cool I can use. Obviously, the one thing is like here's some filter I do as this type image, photos, excluded AI. Where'd that button go? It disappeared. It was just right there. It's fine. Usually this is there, but I guess when I press photo, that pop out.
Is that it there?
Oh no! So
Background?
usually it has like a let's see.
I'm blind, so should have brought my
Oh,
glasses.
that's good. Because look, if I type in image, type in cabin, right? I just want to show you guys this real quick. Right here, this generative AI excluded generative AI. Blah blah blah. Excluded it.
It's a tongue
Yeah,
twister.
so it didn't show. Yeah. So usually I like to have the options on, but we don't necessarily need it here since I guess when you click photo, it took that out. So I was like,
Okay.
where did it go? Okay. So we thought this house is cool, right? But the other thing, the only problem we have here is that you see all this house is attached to the ground. Right? So
Right.
if you want a house that's like that with like different perspective, technically it's totally fine. Yeah, let's zoom in because if the house, this is like the square box, right? Like you don't really see the bottom part too much.
Right.
That's off. It's fine. But with Firefly, we can like generate something like with this perspective, so you can actually see the bottom part of the house, right?
Okay.
But how do we do that, right? So now we're gonna jump into Firefly. Well, this was some other reference we had. These are cool. I don't know if I like it because there's no middle ground in there.
Right.
So we're just gonna ignore this. Let's just go work on the house. But I'm showing you. This is like some other example you can do to create a background. But since
This
we
is
got
so
it in a
cool.
perfect like first time trying, I was just like, oh, we can just skip it.
I was gonna say, like, you really got it on the first try.
No, it's all
That
about
never
luck, you know?
happens for me. It takes me a while. But now I feel like I need to get a drawing pad because this is a game changer.
It just like reduce so much like clicking and then your wrist pressure, just like make it easy to do. But at home I have a bigger drawing pad like the one there that you can
Right.
directly draw on it. Yeah. First time using this is kind of weird because like your eye and hand coordination is like different.
So it took you a little
Oh,
bit. to
the
kinda get
reason
used
why
to
it was stuck in that because that we have the composition reference on. That's why it's sticking that lane earlier. I forgot to take that off.
Oh.
But now even with the same prop, I just add floating cabin. It actually works out too. So that's that. It's a fun little mistake that created. But you see, like when you type the prompt floating,
Right.
cabin actually give you like a better reference, and with the bottom part that's also built.
Right.
So I took that out, so there's no more reference. But we can also build a reference on there too. Let's see. So what I'm gonna do is, since there's a lot of layers, a lot of hidden stuff, I'm just gonna color code it. Red, sample. I'm gonna ignore all the bottom of that because I wanna hide that. Okay, so there's nothing on that, right? No, there is. Okay.
Do you love keeping your layers organized all the time?
I try because sometimes like I will end up adding like 100 layers, and I'm just like, oh
Right.
god, I should have named it like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're gonna learn how to draw a house badly, I mean, you can always use the reference photo. That is not screen. Hey, look at this guy. He's such a Photoshop pro. Like, not really, you know. So if we do something like that, if that's is that the angle I want? I don't know if that's the angle I want. But basically, what we can do is I'm drawing this opposite direction for some reason.
I just noticed that. That's pure skill.
No, it's accident. I didn't mean to do it, you know? Like, I'm gonna do that and probably do like more close into there. Okay. But that's still not the right angle. Sorry. Trying to figure out a good angle. You know what? We could always use this reference. But anyway, what we can do is, like, if you're really bad drawing like me, right? For example, this is like something we want. We download this, put on here, pour it into the Photoshop, and then do the same thing I did earlier, just draw over it, right? Because okay, like I wasn't not sure like what was the perspective I want. Then now I can do this, right? now have a better square, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and then you can add like, let's say like you want a door here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Some like circle window or like square window that have to follow the basic guideline. I'm sorry, guys.
You're doing great.
I'm trying my best, you know. And then maybe some like, what do you call that? The base of the house.
Oh, like, I don't know if it's called the foundation.
Kind of like foundation, you know, textures or whatsoever. And then let's say like, let's make it like triangle-ish, right?
I feel like if I could describe what you're doing in
Yeah.
2 movies, it's giving me Wizard of Oz mixed with Monster House.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I just
that's
type
pretty
Monster
cool.
House after you say that. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna save that. But obviously, I really like this house. That
Yeah.
any of this work, right? Because like the perspective is a little bit like pushing it. So even if this is what we want to work with, this is actually pretty good too. Because come with the shadows and everything, so I can just add the leg in between. And you can
Right.
pop back into like, hey, maybe I like this house perspective better, and then I can just see like if that will fit in this. Because I can just tell by experience this is like too high up compared to the ground. So if I mask it, right, it doesn't look right. It should be tilting a little bit toward to our
Because of
side.
the angle
Yeah,
of
because
the
the angle and
photo,
stuff,
right?
you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Makes
then that's too
sense.
like toward. So you just do that. So like we have to adjust it. I think you can even just do like maybe this or perspective, drag it down a little bit. No, actually just do that. Like kind of like that. That looks a little bit better.
Right.
But we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna use it. So based on the drawing we did, I deleted that by accident. But that's totally fine. So just keep generating and try something new, right? To see like
Okay.
if we can get a better house. But if we cannot find anything, don't worry, because I already pre-generated one earlier that have a better perspective. Yeah. So
I
you know,
love that.
but I want to see like if we can make something work as like we're live, right?
Right. And Jeff says,
bum.
going off the Halloween vibes, can we maybe do a cabin in the woods?
Oh, like the movie?
Ah,
yes.
yes. The movie, not the prompt. Yes.
We'll try it.
I love that.
I'll try my best. It should work. It's drum roll. There you go. So I basically just put a haunted cabin that looks like more scary and eerie.
That does look super
Yeah.
eerie.
And if we can't get the perspective right, don't worry. This camera angle we can use too. Let's see. I can do landscape photography, shallow. Is it from the shot from the above? No. We'll try shot from the above. Let's see how it looks. It might be a wrong angle, but it wasn't shot on the angle, like low angle below. And we'll try one of it. If not, I'll just like try it again, you know. But yeah,
Yes.
that should work. Okay, it's getting there. So now this is like an actual floating. This one actually could work, maybe. It's like an in between. I need like an in between. Actually, this one could work. Yeah, I think this one could work. I'm gonna do this and download it and put it on here. So we're gonna jump into Photoshop, jump back into Photoshop. and
It's so
drag
cool
it
to
in.
see how you're like combining all of these different like
Elements?
yeah,
Yeah, the part,
like just
yeah.
different like things you've created in Firefly to bring it into one project.
Yeah, it's fun. So I'll do more like detailed work and then taking my time. But I want to show you guys like, hey, if you're a beginner or someone who have trouble, like don't know where to start, this is like a very fun way to do it. Just like start with the
love it.
sketching, drawing, and then like step by step, I'll like teach you how to like build it closer to your goal. So what I did here, we got kind of lucky again. Basically, I pressed W as a selection tool and press select subject. It did that for me. So I press Q again to enter quick mask mode to see like what is select, what is not. Obviously, you can tell there there's like some part that need to be removed, but overall it looks pretty good for like what we just selected. We can pop into select and mask too, and then no, not a spinning wheel. Is it gonna crash? Don't. I'm scared. Is it gonna crash? Am I? Oh, it's not. I start sweating.
We saved it.
We saved it. Which is funny because Jesus and I were just talking about like, hey, always save your work. But guess who didn't
Yes.
save it? This guy.
It's like keeping us humble right now, that spinning wheel.
wheel. Spinning wheel is like, hey, you sure you want to do this? I've been just doing that. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Right there. There you go. I'm taking the how do you call this? Instead of using the plus and negative, I just press the option, so it's just like select the remove the other part. I want to see if it works good enough. It might select too much. I'm just gonna do that real quick. It looks a little bit better, but I feel like that removed a lot. Let me try. Yeah, that's okay. I won't really. No, I do like that extra part that was like hanging out. There you go.
It
That's what I'm
kind of
gonna do.
almost looks like it was ripped out of the ground and be like if you're gonna add the legs, like it kind of looks like it was ripped out of the ground with those little pieces hanging, right?
And I'm gonna fix the perspective right now because right now you can see that it's kind of like going to this directions like that. But I think what I'm gonna do is to just hold Command T or Control T and then right click, go to perspective and then kind of just like fix that right about there. That's pretty close.
That looks good.
Yeah. So it looks like a haunted house that's just standing from the ground and make it work. Okay, so now we're gonna clean up a little bit. I'm not gonna go super detailed. So usually I'll go like into the mask mode to like removing things. But what we could do is just press F5 and pick one of these noisy brush to remove the little space in between. What do you call that? The selection part that's not perfect? Yeah. So I'm just gonna do that, and you can like rotate a little bit. You can go super detailed, but I think like this would do. Actually, I'm also gonna do some like color corrections too, so it's gonna look like it belongs to there. There's a lot of
That
like
looks so cool.
stabs that you can do to hide stuff in there. Okay, that looks pretty good so far. Because what we could also do later is that when you add the ambient light or elements, right? For example, if I sample the grade around here, you can use like a texture brush or fog, or usually I just paint with the soft brush because I just make it like it's fading into the smoke, so you wouldn't really be able to tell too not much.
Right.
But of course, like doing like this type of work, you want to be as detailed as possible.
Right.
So you want to make sure everything looks good. So I just saved the file just in case. Okay, so now we have the house and we have the light perspective looking good. I want to see if I want to flip it left and right to see. No, I like that angle better. That's looking pretty good. How tall should we make the house? Like super tall? Maybe there.
I think like where you had it, maybe
Okay.
a little taller.
Yeah. Okay, just a little bit taller. There you go.
Yeah.
Right about there. Okay, so we're gonna pop out. The other thing is that we eventually need to make a reflection, but we'll worry about that later. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot reflection. We're gonna make that. So we gotta jump back into Firefly. Now we need to figure out how to build the leg of the house, right?
Right.
So there's some cool way. It would be like you can type in like tree trunk or branches and stuff. I personally thought it would be interesting to use walking sticks box leg, right?
Right.
And you gotta be like, hey, how do we sample this, right? It's like not part, but like this leg right here is like almost perfect, you know. So I might just like download and use it.
Right.
Gonna put on here, and then we'll try to generate something different too. But you can think about like any type you want. It doesn't have to be the bug leg. It could be like anything else. But for here, like I want to make it look like super creepy. So I'm just gonna do that. This is the challenging part. I don't know what is it gonna select. Oh, perfect. Okay, select a mask. I shouldn't click that again. Oh, never mind. Woo! I was like, refine edge tool. That's the tool I was looking for earlier. Just gonna do that. There you go.
This is so
I think my computer
cool.
was like moving slow. That's why I thought I was on the run tool. But basically, like this is what I want to do. Basically, it's just like gonna refine the edge, so make the fuzzy selection part even better.
Okay.
So you can tell it's removing the other part I don't want it to be select. That's good enough. Do that, and then let's see. I'm gonna click this icon right here, mask it, or you can click the icon right here. It's the same thing, and make sure you're selecting the mask. Press B, brush, shrink it down, and then working on removing this part. And then
I think
hold
that
the
might be
shift.
bamboo. It almost looks like.
Yeah, Wacom bamboo.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the leg? Sorry. Or the drawing tablet.
The like almost like that stem that the legs are around, right?
Oh yeah.
Looks a lot like bamboo, actually.
It's like some type of wood or thing that's
Yeah.
like hang on it, and then we're just gonna pop off. There's also this you guys probably noticed that I'm using the quick selection mask that like keep turning everything red. So that's because like I am used to how to work with that. But there is a new selection tool if you guys wanna take a look. Doing that, and then zoom out, and then boom, 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 erasing that on the mask. So now we have a leg. The other tool is here. Let me duplicate this, delete layer, just show you guys. So what I've been doing is pressing Q, selecting quick selecting mask. So you see the red part is actually the part that I don't want it to be select, you know. So it's like a
Right.
reverse way I'm working in. So usually like sometimes I would do is I would pin on the stuff I want to select, and then inverted it when I'm done, and then when you mask it, that's become like what you want, right? But the
Right.
other easier way to use with the new tool is under the selection tool, selection brush tool. So this is like, actually this is like more easier to understand, right? This is like whatever you touch and select and brush on is actually what you're selecting. So the old school way, well, the quick select, I don't know if it's old school way, is like reverse. So this
Right.
actually makes more sense as like a new tool, you know, to do. But personally, I still prefer using the mask mode. But I don't know if you tried it or people in chat, like which one do you guys prefer better? This
It's
is like kind of
funny.
easier to do like stuff like that, you know. So you
Right.
can-
I definitely feel like looking at the way that you kind of organically do things, you can tell it works really well for you. And I think
yeah, I'm used to that. Yeah.
Yeah, like sometimes when there's new features that come out, like I know even myself, like I always default to doing what I feel most comfortable in my workflow with already. But I love how you're like just working through this.
yeah.
like
Wait.
it's insane to me how quickly like you've gotten through this so far.
So basically what I did is just Control T, Command T, and then transfer, and then right click, flip left and right, move the layer down behind the house because, you know, hiding it so it looks like it's actually part of it. And then just gonna do like some organizing the little leg movement, you know. And if you wanted to make it slightly different, you can always change the size, the shape. What I'm doing is like, cause you might be able to tell like this is very easy to see. It's the same copy and paste. But once you put the mask on, right, and then you brush out the bottom part where it blend in. There you go. I drag the run layer. See, this is why you need to name your layer. I'm gonna put this as house and legs. There you go. When you brush into that, then you can't really tell that's the same leg anymore, you know.
Right.
And then you can rearrange a little bit, and then try to say, hey, you know, that's like how a spider or like, you know, centipede legs looks like.
Yeah.
But we'll delete that because we don't need that yet. And then just the same one, and flip it. Da, 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 da. Now it looks kind of like scary.
Wow.
How do you even make it big, or like make it like spider looking like it's like moving around.
Yes.
Ugh, I get it. I don't like spiders.
I'm not a bug person
Me
at
either.
all.
Yeah, I don't like bugs much, but I'm making bugging art.
Yeah.
You know?
We're bugging out over here.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to do like see if we can reach out to like, you know, like a tenor or something like it's doing different thing. I mean, it doesn't have to be like
Yeah.
super crazy. Doing something like that. Maybe adjusting some other part, rotating. If you hold like Options or Alt and then click it, then you can rotate based on the where you select it, right?
I love that.
The anchor point. That's what I was thinking. I was like the. Okay, let's see. We should probably make this standing a little bit more outwardy. Shit, I don't know if I like that leg that's upward. It's almost like it's saying hi.
Yeah.
So to make it scarier, I think just do like that. There you go, a little different size. You can even just pop in. Let's see. I'll just turn this into convert to smart object. I'm going to add it. I think it's a puppy warp. I always say wrap. I don't know why I say wrap, like wrapping, but it's like puppy warp. Clicking on all this angle joints, then you can move the legs around a little bit, like to adjust it better, like to a slightly different
Oh,
shape if you
wow.
want.
You can
do something.
manipulate it.
Yeah,
quite a
so
bit.
it make it look even more like, oh, it's not from the same copy and paste. The downside is
Right.
like, because it does wrap the image around, so it might not look
Okay.
straight. But I think that's totally fine for this purpose. And I just want to rearrange the stuff a little bit more. Maybe that. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay.
That looks so good. And we have Jeff in the chat saying, I hate bugs, but also cannot look away from this awesome art.
I hate bugs too. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna duplicate this too. So this is all the legs. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna turn that, flip it, horizon, plug it, rotate it, do that, and then select both, doing this. Now it's like a little mouth, you know.
Oh, wow. Like the little teeth.
Yeah, you know, it's like a little two leg dangling under it. Like,
Yeah.
So imagine this thing's moving and then you just go like, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Popping back in. So what we need to do now next is like bunch of like editing to make sure like this thing does match like the color corrections and everything. So some of my favorite tool is right here, adjustment layers. You can go on the same, go onto like layer adjust, like adding the adjustment layer on there, like all this. But personally, I just like to do this and click on here. I have like the shortcut right there. You can also click window, adjustment is right here. It will pop out. So it's just like, there is like a other way to display to make it bigger, but I forgot how to do it. It was somewhat there. But anyway, so I think first I would do is to use hue desaturation, right? So I'm clipping mask to the whole group of the leg, reduce it, kind of like, because it was like the wrong color, it was like very yellow saturated, but the background is like more like green and dark. So this already looks pretty good to me. It looks like pretty airy. We do that. We can even add a little bit of shadow. We don't have to add too much. So basically, this is something I mentioned before too in the other session. Is like the highlight of this, you kind of want to match like the highlight here. It's like at least putting the same color group of like the darkest part, and then like, you know, it should be like very similar color scheme. That's how you make everything like kind of blending automatically. The other thing also is that if you can tell where the lighting's coming from when you're blending into photo stuff, turn your stuff to black and white and then boost up the contrast. So you can kind of tell like, okay, where is the lighting come from? Obviously, this one is in the foggy situation. So if you're a photographer or you like hiking, you've been outdoor a lot, you can kind of tell like when it's foggy, it's like overcasting, the light is bouncing over around, so it's not too much. So luckily, there's not super strong light contrast on this too. It's like the same direction, even though we generate in two different settings, right? So that's pretty good. So we can just delete all that. And since we already know the lighting is like from overall, so we just have to make sure everything is slightly less contrasted. Do that. So we're doing the leg first. You can even adjust some of this to see like, oh, you can make it brown, darker. I think we'll just keep it like desaturated. I was like pretty happy with that, about right there. And then you can tell like the other thing I mentioned is that we're gonna use this icon right here and put selected color. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want to match, this is the darkest part of the spider leg.
Right.
I wanted to match the darkest part up here, at least similar, right? So what you could do is in selective color, click the jump into the black part, right? Then you can adjust the contrast of it by blending even more, and even turn to like adding more blue, yellows, or other color into that. So we're kind of matching like a blue, greenish. You can also go like super extreme to see that, oh, which direction looks better.
Wow.
And then like fine tuning that. You can even go to the neutral color. So it's like the highlight, contrast, midground, the midtones. And thing. So this is like more than that, right? So this is like first step. We're making everything looking pretty close already.
Right.
So we're gonna put this group again, and then like, I'm just gonna call it major leg. Major leg layer, right? And then we're gonna pop back into the house, but right before that, let's do a quick check-in real quick. Now we have like similar color. It's like the contrast looks pretty similar, right? So I can add more blue into it, or checking the darkest part right here. It's actually pretty similar, like color gradient. on that. So your eyes kind of like will get tricked into it. But obviously there's still a lot we need to fix on here. Oh, there's not a lot of time, so I'm gonna speed run through this. I'm just gonna downward this, do that, do the same thing. Selective color, do that.
I feel mind boggled watching you. I'm like, this is so cool. This is why I love live streams.
We're gonna do this. There's other thing that we didn't add in there too, so you gotta think about this, right? The light is coming down from the top, the leg is under the house, so obviously there's need to be shadow, so it's just easier to simple something here. Use 30%. I put a layer on top of it, clip into it, so there's like a shadow under the house, right? That's where it's affecting the legs, right? So you get into that, putting a little bit on here. But the shadow doesn't highly cover this area too, just a little bit, because there's also highlights. So you can also pop in, adding another layer, putting to screen, and then sample the back too, and then put like some like highlights on the top of edge of the leg. So you can do that too, like applying to like most of it, adjust it. You know, I didn't know we were running out of time because the time flying by, because like it's so fun to make this. So I'm just like speed pen through this. So that's one you can still tell like that's still a little bit off. So this is the house layer. Then we're gonna pop in another layer. This is the fog blending, and then we can just selecting probably a quick breakdown, right? Basically the fog has like, you have the highest part, the middle is like darker, right, about there, so it's kind of like blending into like in this order kind of, right? The lower it gets like darker, right? So the same thing is like we can just create a new layer, sample somewhere around here, reduce the opacity, and then kind of like pan it around, get it like a glowing area feeling, and then do like that's a little bit too heavy, so I need to lower it, right? And then we can do screen onto top of that, reduce the opacity, and then remember the lake that we talked about earlier. So I'm gonna put this all into one group, create the layer mask for it, put house, pop into here, put another layer because we need to pop into here, and then pick the right brush or anything, just kind of like make it look like it's blending into the grass and stuff. Maybe just the very bottom because it's like standing on
almost like the
bottom
grass,
right?
the grass is kind of covering.
Yeah, kind of like
a
put it on there,
little
like you get an idea of that. Technically, this might not be a strong leg to stand on there, but it looks good enough. But other thing you can do, I should have done this earlier, but you can still do it. We're gonna go back to the original. Well, I'm gonna put all the leg convert to smart object, because what I need to do is to go on filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and then probably put like match the background. I'll say 1.3, and then go back on here, add noise, you know, like putting them on there because it has to match the background noise and everything. So you gotta do the same thing to the house too, which I should have done this earlier, but we were having so much fun I forgot about it. And the cool thing, and sometimes you see like when I did this, the edge doesn't do it, so you can just click the layer mask and do the same thing, apply the same like editing, so now the edge is soft. Pause there, back to add noise. I love like the new Photoshop give you a lot of like, used to be only one step back you can trace, but now you can do two. So that's like one right there, but then I feel like it should be fading more to it because you can't really see the house, you know. So I just probably add a little bit more into that. And then the coolest thing is like the same thing we did with the selected color. We can clip and mask the same thing and try to adjusting in that. I think the house looks, there you go, need to be a little bit blue-green. There you go, let's get in there, right? And then maybe even added a heavier shadow because like when it's fog in the distance, like that's like kind of like a more like a silhouette that you're seeing. And then each leg, it's like different depth of the fill, so you have to add like different on there. So now it's like looking better. Even reduce that a little bit on the top is brighter, and then to sweeten this a little bit better, I should name my layer, but oops, I think I clicked so fast, it just not letting me doing anything. We'll do this, the other orange we talk about, and put in that. So this is like something I'd really love to do. I'll press like 3 for the opacity, and then starting with here, and then make it smaller and click in the middle, and then just keep shrinking it but the same opacity, and maybe even add a little bit like yellow like
I
that.
love that. It
So
almost
you
gives it
think-
like a gradient kind of.
Yeah, so
coming
it's like
out.
actually like a gradient, like glowing light when you do that,
Wow.
when you move it over. So you can put it on there, make it probably even like around there, right? And you can just duplicate a whole bunch of it because like there's like different light on there, and reduce each like different opacity and shining. And you can even like do the square shape because like that's the window
Right.
frame, how the light leak. And then you can like add it more if you want, because like you can just even do small sometimes too. It doesn't have to be like huge. I think the one we made was like pretty big, so to make it look like it's glowing, I accidentally put that on the same layer, but that's totally fine. I just like erase that.
Thank God for the undo tool when you
I
need
know,
it.
right? Just do that, and then do a little bit orange because that's like the cabin, and I'm just gonna. I don't like that one, but duplicate it, erase that. Can I make it brighter? Yeah, get in there. Well, get in there.
Daniel
you
says,
get an
"Wow,
idea."
you're so fast."
I'm like time crunchy because I was like,
Speed. It's like
okay, and then we're gonna create this other layer. Here, I just put all this, group it together. This is the glowing light, right? And then we create another, what do you call this? The adjustment layer for the brightness. I'm turning it down, and then you can press B brush, flex it back, and then print it out like going back in like that,
wow.
working on the mask. So it's like and then you can even reduce a little bit more. I mean, on the mask part, it doesn't have to be like super dark. Sorry, the property. It doesn't have to be super dark, but just getting there, even adjusting this whole thing a little bit lower, higher. I would like personally, I would add like a little bit more airy filling onto that. Just even reduce the fog right there. The other thing is that we need a reflection of this. So I am gonna see if I can copy this whole thing. It won't let me just duplicate it. 1, 2, 1, 2, do that. Vertical. You can do something like that, and then.
So this is the reflection now.
Yeah, let's see, because you can do like a displacement map, I think, to make the whole wrinkles and everything on there. I wonder if I use like gem fill, just like the whole area you can do it to. But we'll do a very simple one. We'll just do motion blur to like 180, and then kind of like faking it. We're faking it. There's some other thing you can do. You can also use the smudge tool. Let me save the file in case it crashed, and then just like dragging. What does it say? Yeah, sure. It's just dragging left and right to like kind of like giving like a more like water.
To distort it a
yeah,
little
distort
bit.
it a little bit, so you can do both. And obviously, the next thing you need to do is changing the blending layer mask to like darker, multiply or something, and then reduce the opacity, so it kind of looks like glowing. But there is light on this thing, right? So we're gonna duplicate it, come in here, vertical. I know I'm speed running through this. Sorry guys, because just ran out of the time. And then even reduce that a little bit more, right? And if it doesn't look correctly, because you convert to smart object, and just do the same motion blur on that, right? So now you have this like kind of like slightly glowing feeling. This is like
This is insane.
there's still a lot of work I need to do on this. What's insane is that I wanted to bring this into Adobe Express, but then like if I drop the whole layer, it might be crazy, break it. But what we could do is probably, let's see, if I group this whole thing, right? Okay, I group that, and I group this. I'm gonna see how this is gonna work. I'm not sure.
And for everyone who's just kind of popping in now, why don't you tell them, Ted, kind of what we did today?
Yeah, basically, I forgot. No, basically we create this concept into Firefly, brainstorm some ideas and concept, and then we generate the background, and then the theme was like spooky season. So it's about like Halloween's, Friday the 13th. I forgot to remove the background white. But yeah, and then like we composite into Photoshop like this, right? So I have 2 minutes. I don't know if I have time to bring to Firefly, but basically what I want to, Adobe Express. But basically what I want to do is to do Express, kind of like there's like other cool animation you can do. Like here's like some example I did before. So basically I wanted to do like to make like the house like pop out and then like a walking blending from the side.
Oh, wow.
But then you have to export each layer as a PNG with the clear
Right.
background. But we only have 2 minutes, so I don't have to do that. But this is looking pretty cool. Pretty cool. So this is like some other thing I do. I create this in Photoshop as a PNG, remove the pool, and then find like a video in Adobe Express, plug it in underneath, and kind of do like a infinity pool, like swimming in the cloud, kind of like idea and concept of that. So like Express is like really fun to like do animation, simple thing, collage. This is the other concept and idea I have. As like, you know, the lighthouse, but it's actually shining different time and season of the day. Right?
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe you'll still do it and share it on your Instagram?
Yeah, I would still do it, you know. One other quick thing, if you want to do color correcting, pop on here, click gradient tool, gradient color. You can create your own or pick one that says something airy. We can do this and do like soft light and boost that contrast, so it's almost like color grading. Make it even more scary. You can make the background more like brown, red, right? And then highlight could be more orange, you know, different thing like something greenish, right? This is like look more like swampy and horror movie kind of vibe. And actually, that looks pretty cool, right?
That does look
Yeah.
amazing.
So then like we have like, you know, the scary buggy monster, and then I'll even go into detail because like, you know, there is like if it's coming up on the ground, there's dirt. You can even like make like a hole right here, right? That's like the dent, and then you can even make like little like dirts falling off, or like imagine even put like a little person here that's being like trapped, you know?
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
because it's like little person right here.
There's so much potential still with this.
Or a teddy bear, anything cute, you know? So
I
yeah,
love that.
and I think that's the time we have for this session, right?
That's great. It was
Sorry.
so amazing. Thank you so much for
speed
sharing
run
this
through the whole
with
thing,
us.
yeah.
You're so incredible at what you do, and tell everyone where they can continue to follow you.
Oh yeah, you can find me on my Instagram, Ted's Little Dream. You can also find on Behance, on my website, or any other social media. Just type Ted's Little Dream. It's my little dream. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Ted.
Yeah,
this
thank
was
you for
amazing.
having
Make
me.
sure you guys stick around. There's still more where that came from.
Yeah. I'll see you guys soon. I'll be hosting the next session. Bye.
This stream is going to be all about advanced Photoshop techniques that I think you should know. So in the brand new taskbar here at the bottom, that'll give you access to the remove background button. So I'm going to click on remove background. And what I want to do now is bring back some of the areas that the remove background feature that it catches is really the car. Since the car has very smooth edges, I think I'm going to use a vector to select that and turn that into a selection and fill it with white to reveal. From the toolbar, I'm going to enable the curvature pen tool, and I'm just going to create a selection that looks like this. Right click on that path and choose make selection. Now I can enable my mask simply by clicking on it. White is my foreground color, so I'll fill with it by pressing Alt and Backspace on Windows, Option Delete on the Mac, and I can deselect. Remember, the original edge has this shallow depth of field, and the way that I'm going to match it is by selecting the lasso tool. So I'm just going to freehand a selection around that edge and right up here as well. So filter, blur, Gaussian blur. I'll press OK, deselect, and that is my result. So the next thing is to work on the fur. One of the best ways of bringing fur back is to just paint it in. So I'm going to open up a new document. I'm just going to select the curvature pen tool once again. I'm going to click on top, click on the bottom, click on the top again, then drag out from the center like so. And this is going to be my fur. And when you right click on this, you can fill this path, and I'm going to fill it with black. So when you're creating a brush, white will become transparent and black will become the brush itself. So now I can go into edit, define brush preset. I can just call this hair strand if I can spell. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to create a new layer. So what we can do is click on this icon to open up the brush settings. For example, the brush tip, increases the spacing. See that? The really important one for this example is the shape dynamics. When I click on that, I'm going to increase the size jitter. Now, when I paint, all the different hair strands are different sizes, and that's what I want. We need to adjust the angle jitter so that they rotate and they're at different angles, and they're all not exactly the same angle. See that? I'm going to scatter it a bit, and I'm going to add a few more by increasing the count. And this is now my result. And I think that's going to make some good fur. Under shape dynamics angle, I'm also going to change it to direction. See how I'm going in a circle here, but the edges are always pointing out. The direction set to off, or the control set to off. See the difference? So now I can come into my mask here, and I want to paint with white. I'll select the lasso tool, and I'll make a selection around his head like so. So now that the selection is active around his fur, I'm going to go into filter, other, and minimum. Make sure that you're on the layer mask. The focus, the white outline needs to be on the mask. And now I can push the pixels in. That's what the minimum filter does. It contracts a mask. We'll go heavy-handed. We'll go 8. Then I'll press OK. So now the mask has contracted a lot more than it originally was. You can see the difference here. This is where we were. That's what we did. We pushed the mask in. But that allows us to now paint on here, and it gives us more freedom to paint with the brush now, because we won't get the background. The fur also had a little bit of blurriness to it, so we need to add that in. You can
Hello everyone, thanks for being here and welcome back to another session of Adobe Live. I'm your host Ted, aka Ted's Little Dream, and here we have Jesus Ramirez, and we're gonna be talking about mastering generative AI in Photoshop.
Hey Ted, how's it going?
Good.
To see you.
Just waiting for the last session.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were running through that, man. You covered a lot in like 2 seconds.
I think I did too much, yeah, but it was fun.
No, the end result was incredible.
Oh, thank you.
If you guys didn't see that, make sure you watch the recording. It happened like 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Woo, that was fun. But yeah, now I'm ready to challenge you since I'm not in the sweating seat right now. I was like, I'm gonna give you a lot more idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about like what are we gonna work on, because in the last session you give us a lot of great tips. There's a lot of short key I didn't even know exist. So I learned a lot today, and then we saw your work. But for those who are just jumping in, please tell them a little bit more about you, your work, and then let's hop into the topic.
Yeah, so we're gonna learn about generative AI in this session. A little bit about those of you that are watching who don't know me. I have a YouTube channel, the Photoshop training channel, where I teach Photoshop.
I watch a lot. I watch a lot
Thank
of
you.
those.
Thank you. There's a website, Photoshop training channel. You can read the articles there, the written content. I'm also still a professional graphic artist. I think that's like my big differentiating factor, I think, between a lot of the people who teach. A lot of people are no longer or were never professional artists. I still am to this day. So a lot of the stuff that I teach relates to real world techniques that I use in real life. And I think that it's important because you get to not only test the new tools, but really try them out in like a real environment.
Yeah.
So you get to really see how it works. So like one of the latest movie posters that I worked on was Frasier season 2, which starts 8 days from now, something like that. I don't even know what day it is. Anyway, the point is that in this particular piece, I actually use generative AI. Unfortunately, I can't show you the before photos because I'm not allowed to, but you can definitely see the final result. And I use generative AI to remove a lot of the wrinkles on his jacket, especially in this area. I had to move his arm. They wanted his arm a little bit higher than what he really had it. So when I moved this arm, I used generative fill to fill in small areas, some gen fill in other areas like his hair and things like that. So that's what we're going to talk about, how I use generative fill not generative fill, but generative AI in a professional environment, which includes generative fill. And yeah, that's what we're talking about today.
I can't even tell like that was generative. I was like trying to look like, because usually you can kind of see, but like this is like this really good job.
I can tell you that this part right here for sure.
About there. But it works perfect. So yeah, because like that was like one of the questions I have early stage when Firefly and Gen AI was released. I was like, can we use it as professionally in the field, And
Not in the beginning. In the beginning,
Not in the beginning,
it was
right?
commercially safe, but now it is, and that's one of the advantages that Adobe has over competitors, at least in my opinion, is that anything that you use Adobe with is commercially safe. And what I mean by that, if you use Adobe fonts, are commercially safe. If you use Adobe Stock, it's commercially safe. If you use Generative Fill, it's commercially safe, which means that you can use it in your client work legally. Obviously, you can use stuff that is not legally safe in your personal work for fun, no problem there. But when you are dealing with client work, especially at a high level, you do need to make sure you have the rights for everything, which is why I prefer Adobe products over competitors.
But I was also mean like how to properly use it in your workflow. Right?
Got it.
Like, is it like a high skill enough to make sure everything looks seamlessly? But it looks like obviously like it's great.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think that there's confusion. I think that people think that AI will just do everything for you, and I don't think that's, at least in my perspective, how generative AI should be used.
Right.
So to me, it's almost like the clone tool, right? Like the clone tool could copy an image onto another, perfectly copy this image over here, but that's not why it's useful. It's useful on smaller specific areas to do a specific task. So that's what I'm going to try to show in this session. Maybe it's not a huge change to the entire image, but it's a huge time saver of the entire image. So with that said, why don't we move in and just show you guys an example of how I would use generative AI. So for example, this happens a lot with retouching, especially in those photos that you see in movie posters. A lot of the photos come in and they look like this, basically, where the hair is not perfect,
The hair, the highlights.
So there's a lot of imperfections. And you can definitely use old school Photoshop techniques for that, but now with generative AI, we can do things a little faster. So for example, we can select the selection brush, which just allows you to paint a selection, right? That's all we're doing. That's a selection right there. You can press Control-D to deselect, just like you can with a selection. So I'm gonna reduce my brush size by tapping on the left bracket key. The bracket keys are found to the right of the letter P in North American keyboards. And, something like this could come in and the client will say, okay, can you fix this hair? And sure, we could. That would take a long time back in the day, but now we can, simply just paint over it. And, we might not get it right on the first try, but it's definitely much faster than doing it the old way. So there we go. And I kind of want to have, like, the way that I like using generative AI to retouch is I want to leave as much of the original hair as possible. So I want it to know that I want the hairline to still come, on this piece right there, right? I don't want it to generate more or less. I just want it to fix it. So that's why I did that. Then I'll click on Generative Fill, and we'll see if it works. Leave the prompt blank, click on Generate, and now Photoshop is going to try to give it a very good guess as to what that hair should look like, hopefully without being messy. And that's not
too bad.
Not too bad, but not good, right? This is what I was talking about. This one looks better. I can continue to maybe keep these, keep this, and then continue making adjustments. But what I like to do is click on Generate again and see what happens. And usually what happens if after the second or third try of generating things don't work, I just recreate the selection, right? So let's see what happens here. Okay, this is a little bit better. I can probably work with that, but I'm still unhappy with everything, Ted. So what I'll do is I'll delete everything, and you know what? We're just gonna do it again. And and sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. But and you know what? To save time, now that I'm doing two things at once, I'm just gonna also try to fix this area. I was gonna do it in two separate steps.
Make it one go.
But now I'm just gonna do it in one go, just because. I don't want to spend too much time doing it now that it didn't work on the first go.
I'm still trying to get used to the new selection tool because I'm still doing the Q.
Yeah, much better.
Oh wow, yeah, in one go actually looks
really good. Looks really good, right? So before and after, see that? Wow. So now, it would have taken, if I wasn't talking to you and talking to the audience, it would have taken 30 seconds, right? Yeah. Trying it twice, or and then
talk to me.
And then maybe fix this side, right, as well. Click on Generative Fill. There we go, Generate. So that's what I mean about how I like to use generative AI. It's not really replacing me, it's just making my work faster,
like
right?
make the tedious job
exactly
faster, speeding up.
Right, so then I can decide what the better solution is. So now I can put these two into a group, and I can just call it, hair fix or whatever, you want to call it. And there you go. So now is my client happy with this or not? we'll figure that out. Personally, I don't like removing wrinkles, scars, and things like that from photos. I think if it's a part of your face, you keep it. If it's a pimple that's going to go away in a week, then yeah, sure, remove it. But a lot of the times, the client will say, remove wrinkles, remove
Like reduce a little bit.
Oh, not even reduce.
Just remove?
Yeah.
Make me look
I like reducing, if that, but that's
I
a
do like
different-
reducing.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
But let's say that the client,
Whatever makes the client happy.
right. Let's say the client was unhappy with the deep wrinkles this gentleman has. What we could do is use generative AI. And again, it may not work in the first try, but let me show you the technique that I like using for just removing wrinkles. I just create this adjustment, and generative AI now is smart enough to create that skin texture and also match the shadows and highlights and all of that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what it does. And again, it doesn't always work on the first try. So there we go. But this time it did a pretty good job. We can see the different adjustments. But the trick is not just to leave it. What I like to do is I like to use a blend mode. So if we look at the original image, the distractions in this case, the stuff that we want to minimize or remove, is darker, right? So it's darker than the skin tone. So what do we want to do to something that's darker to make it less noticeable? We want to lighten it. So I'll select the lighten blend mode, which is right up here. And you see how it kept the original lighter pixels there, right up here? See that right here, the original.
So you keep the skin textures and like
the skin texture that's lighter.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
And then I can reduce the opacity. So I can reduce the opacity, and now I'm only targeting those darker pixels. So as you said, I'm just reducing it, right? So to my eye, I will do something like this to reduce those wrinkles, maybe a little bit more now that I see the entire image, maybe a bit more. By the way,
Whoa.
so this is, I just thought of something I wanted to show you
That's
guys,
really good, yeah.
as I usually do. So you guys just saw that I was zooming in really far in, and I made an adjustment, and then I thought, all right, let's see if this works. And then I zoomed out. And then I thought, oh no, this doesn't look that good. Maybe I need to bump it up more, right? So you saw that process. There's actually a way of minimizing that process so you don't spend so much time doing that. Let me show you how that works. If you go into Window, Arrange, right at the very bottom, you'll have New Window 4, and then the name of all your open documents. At the moment, we only have one open document, Retouching 01. So when I click on that, it opens up the same document in two windows. This is not a separate document. This is not a separate instance. It's the same document. We're just viewing it in two windows. Why is that beneficial? Well, now that we're viewing it in two windows, we can go into Window, Arrange, and do 2 up vertical or 2 up horizontal, whichever one. In this case, I think 2 up vertical might work better. So it's gonna put them side by side. So on this one, I can zoom in really, really close so we can see those wrinkles. And on this one, we'll just leave it, at 100% so that we can see what that would look like. Or maybe not, maybe even zoom out even more just so that we can really get a sense of what that adjustment is like. So now, notice that when I make an adjustment, both are adjusted, or when I make a change. So now I can bring the opacity down. I'm focusing on this, on the one on the left-hand side, to see how those wrinkles really look, but I can also see how it affects the overall image. So I don't have to keep zooming in and out. See, that's as soon as I make an adjustment, I see, okay, this is what it looks like when it's zoomed in really close, and this is what it looks like when it's zoomed out. So I can get a really good idea of what things are looking without zooming in and out. So this is the workflow that I use at home, but right on the laptop,
perfect,
I just had one.
I have more screen.
Yeah,
Five more screen.
Yeah, exactly. So then, here I can decide, you know what, I have enough detail here,
Yeah.
and the wrinkles are still showing, and it doesn't look too fake. So then, before and after, and this is what I'll do. So now I would call this layer something like, wrinkle reduce or something.
I like that. Yeah, I never thought about creating a separate layer and then use this lighter mode to reduce the only affect the dark pixels.
Well, here, now that you said that, here's the pro tip. So this is the old school way of doing it. So the old school way of doing it is you create a new layer, blank layer.
Yeah.
Then you go into the spot healing brush tool, and you'll notice the mode here. Look at the mode here. You have the lighten mode right here. Lighten. So it's the same thing, right? So then when you paint over that wrinkle here, it only affects the darker pixels. It doesn't remove the brighter ones. So then you'll notice it more up here with this one. Notice that the the highlight still remains. See how the highlight still remains, and it only removes the darker
I've been
ones?
doing it wrong.
Yeah, well, not wrong, just different.
Yeah, this is way faster and like accurate, I think. Yeah.
And then you can just do the same thing, right? Reduce the opacity just like we did before, and we get a
I kind of like the old school way. I mean, the new one's pretty cool too. Yeah.
very similar way. And that's the whole point, right? You
Which
have
one you prefer, yeah.
which one you prefer. And to be quite honest, in this case, the old school way is probably better, but in some cases there's shadows, there's a lot more that goes into, just removing the wrinkle. So Gen AI will be an easier method. But for something simple like this, either method will work just fine.
Like the hair removal earlier, it's like Gen AI is definitely like way faster.
Yeah, and this is why I like this 2-window method, because again, look, if I enable and re-enable, you can see that it updates at the same time on both sides. And I think my photo, oh, there you go. I was like, is it lagging on me? Here's another keyboard shortcut. You can actually pan both windows at the same time. Anybody want to guess what the keyboard shortcut for that is? I know you're peeking,
For which
Ted.
one?
For panning both windows at the same time.
I don't know. Space bar? No, shift space?
Yep, shift space.
Oh, is that
You got
shift
it?
space?
Shift space, yeah.
I have no idea.
Shift space, yeah. Anyway, that's the keyboard
Yeah,
shortcut. I
froze.
did it, and now my there we go. There we go.
Oh.
So I can pan.
I can
both.
also see the insert right there.
Yeah, you're also looking at my hand.
What is it?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna close one tab. Notice when we close that one tab, it didn't ask us to save. Why? Because we still have
That's
the
the
other
same
open.
part, yeah.
And as we discussed in the previous stream, what does that asterisk mean?
Oh, you gotta save.
It means that the file is not
Yeah,
saved.
the file is not saved.
So when
You-
you
you
press
have to
Control
save,
S to
yeah.
save, oh, I haven't. So the original file was a JPEG. Now that I have layers, it wants me to make it into a PSD.
nice.
And now that I saved, the asterisk is gone. So yeah, so
That's such a good tip.
so I'm gonna enable these two. Put them into a group, and basically this will be like my so this is usually what I do, right? Retouch, call it retouch, and there it is. To be quite honest with you, when I do this professionally, what I do is not only do I put the name of of what the layer is, for example, in this case, wrinkle reduce, but I also put in the blending mode. So I will do something like this: lighten, and then parentheses like opacity at 61, opacity at 61%. Why am I doing this? Well, I'm doing this because what if I hand this file over to you and then you accidentally change the
Move the
opacity
opacity,
or change the
yeah.
blending mode? Well, now you can go look at my notes. My notes are in the layer. So that's one of the things I do.
You would hate my file.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I'll make sure I name everything for you.
absolutely. And actually, I don't know if I have it installed on this laptop, to be honest, because I don't do like I have a PC where I do everything, like all the big stuff. But I don't know if I have it installed here. But I do have. Yeah, I don't have it installed here. So I actually wrote a plugin myself that like renames all your layers for you and adds the opacity and blend.
Oh,
mode
so
and all
it
that.
takes. Oh, so it takes all the notes and other thing that you did in original. Like,
Yeah, and it does it for you.
Really?
Yeah, so I
Wow.
wrote that plugin, but I don't have it installed in on this computer.
Oh, I didn't know you can do the little coding
I'm
too.
not that good.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this is one simple example of just retouching with generative AI. I think you should try it out. I'll close and save this file, and then we'll move on to the next one. So what else can we retouch with generative AI? Oh, did I just call both? Sorry, I think
Retouching one, retouching two.
I'm missing one here. I must have left it in the desktop. No, if not, I'll find it. Don't worry. I had another.
Generate one. Make
you
it
go.
very wrinkle close to.
There we go.
you
There
go.
it is.
Oh, the shadow on there.
Yeah. So same thing. Shadow on the girl here. So that maybe this is the perfect photo, but now it has a shadow in it. Oh my God. What do I do? Back in the day, you could do something like frequency separation, things like that. Well, now you can just grab the selection brush. I recommend not trying to remove everything in one stroke. Why? Because two reasons. Number one is there is a resolution limit on what generative AI generates. So you'll get better results the smaller the selection is in terms of resolution. Number two is, what if I really like the forehead generation, but I don't like the cheek? You know what I
Right.
mean? So then that way I can...
Safer to do it like part by part.
Yeah, exactly. So in this case, I'm just going to generate...
And my first job as a retoucher.
Oh,
at a
really?
fashion company, I didn't like it, but I would say like I learned so much and then like become so fast because of that job. But like if we have what we have now back in the day, it makes life so easy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there you go. Look at that. And I
tear
mean...
coming down.
Yeah. And Notice it's not 100% perfect. See that? It kind of left a little mistake there, but it doesn't matter. We can fix that, right? Like, not a big deal. So there you go. That's one. And, we can now work on this side. And then, and the reason the Gen AI here is probably better than anything else is that there's a lot of detail. Her skin texture, the eyebrows, eyelashes, all that. So not only is it saving me time, but I don't think about all those, tiny little details. And this is why I recommend retouching with generative AI. And this might not be perfect. I kind of hope what I'm hoping is that it works halfway. So
it's gotta work great.
So that I can show you that it might do a good part on part of her face, but not on the other, and then you just regenerate the part that it didn't work, So let's see.
Like that, the part's gone.
So let's see. Yeah, so the eye works great, but now we have this issue here, but not a big deal. We can come in here and we can, regenerate that area until we get something that works. And you just keep doing this over and over and over again, and eventually you'll get to an area that, to a point where you have removed everything. So like in this case, now I like this part, right? And you can just keep going and going and going. And now I should have had that window open, but now let me show you what that will look like. I think this one's it. Yep, there it is. So that's the finished product. See that?
Mm-hmm.
So
whoa, yeah.
Before and after.
Wait, can we zoom in? I really want to see the
no
textures.
problem.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Okay, yeah.
Not 100%, but really good.
Really job,
yeah. So
it's still really good.
Yeah,
because I think you can just mimic the textures after, add some noise back on there.
And then you can, in some areas, it did a really good job on the textures, like here.
So that part is also
Yeah, see that?
So as you say, it's better to do small sections by small sections. Because I think it was like 2,000 by 2,000 pixel, or it got
little
bigger?
less than that. I don't. I shouldn't say that.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, there's. Let's just assume it's a lower resolution for now.
Yeah.
Well,
new updates coming after the Adobe Max, so it might be bigger.
Yeah, that's right. What was the question?
Can I ask what jobs helps improve skills for a photo compositor?
Anything that has to do with art and painting, I think.
I think retouching is the basic foundation, right? And then when it comes to higher, you're doing a poster design, that's when every little mistake is critical.
Well, yeah, but I think that if you have a strong artistic background in terms of, you were talking about it with perspective on your stream. You're talking about, the horizon line and all that. That all plays into compositing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are the things that people don't talk about. People focus a lot on the tools, which, you should know the tools like Photoshop. But then they forget that at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is create the illusion of depth, perspective, and all that in a 2D environment.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's, those skills are exactly the ones that are taught with traditional art. So that's what I think you should learn if you want to become a strong photo compositor. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm bad with drawing. You guys saw my last string. I did my stick figure professional championship. But I do a lot of photography on site. So I was telling you, it's I kind of just understand when something doesn't look right.
Yep.
I might not know exactly what is wrong, but I can tell that need to be fixed, and I'll figure out the right answer for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times when I'm working on a project, I have to, they'll give me something like this, and they want me to remove wrinkles or something from a jacket, like this, for whatever reason
it's so painful back in the day.
So then for something like this, if for whatever reason the client says, you know what, I don't like the wrinkle here, and that happens a lot. It's silly sometimes when the client tells me, I don't like this part, just fix it. I'm like, it looks fine, but again, they're signing the paychecks, and as long as they keep getting signed, I'll remove the wrinkles. All the wrinkles,
remove whatever you want.
Yeah. So we'll see how it does. It's not always perfect. Yeah, there you go. See the wrinkle? The wrinkle is not gone. It matches the pattern perfectly.
Ooh.
I didn't have to do much work, right?
Pattern matching is so nice.
So this, again, I cannot stress this enough. This is how I use not generative fill, but generative AI inside of Photoshop. It's not replacing me, it's just helping me work a little faster, So I think that a lot of people get terrified when they see Firefly generate an entire image. But for those of us who have been working with clients, we know that clients will always say, "Oh, we like the jacket, but can you remove that wrinkle?" You know what I mean?
It's like full controls, every
Yeah,
details matter.
exactly.
Because like clients might need to blow
Yeah.
out as like a printing like
Sure.
giant scales, right?
Sure.
Or like moving anything. It's like so important. Yeah.
Right. So this is the way that I like to use generative AI. So use this technology to enhance my workflow rather than like quote unquote replace me. But who knows? Maybe it'll replace us in a year. As of now.
Sometimes I think about it. It's like, nah.
Yeah.
There's still some other like country doesn't have generative.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it won't. But I feel like it just have been like helping me speeding up a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But even with Gen AI, everything like I still need a lot of time to finish like final composite,
Sure.
right? And then all the design you need to move the client need, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, so then you can just go and find, like if that little wrinkle there didn't work, can we make it better? So again, we go back to that Fraser poster I showed in the beginning. I did a lot of this where I was like fixing his suit because, the client didn't like that he had a wrinkle in his arm or something like that, So, and a lot of the times, you just never know what the client's gonna like. So it's good that we can solve these issues without spending hours and hours trying to match that pattern like we would have before.
Just give me a PTSD of like all the clone tool I have to use.
Clone
like, trying to do
tool,
the
copy
dot.
and
Yeah, and
paste
then
and-
rotate everything to
Yeah.
match that little.
Yeah, and just to give you guys an idea, I'm not going to spend the whole stream doing this, but basically what I would have done in the past, that's a horrible selection by the way, what I would have done in the past
Copy and paste.
is make a selection like this and duplicate it basically by pressing Control J, and then I would have tried to, as you said, try to like match it as
liquefy it,
yep,
stretch it,
exactly.
just like all type of different struggle just to get that
Yeah.
line met. Then you're gonna work on the blending.
Yeah, and like let's just call that good. It's not good, but let's just call it good. The next step would
That's
be,
good
as you
enough.
said,
I can work with that.
yeah. The next step, as you said, will be to like match the lighting, right? So now I have to match create a clipping mask, and then try to match the
this is giving me a
lighting.
headache.
Yeah, and then with the layer mask, just come
Oh
in
my god.
and try to blend it in
The edge,
as
yeah.
best as you can. Try to hide that.
We should do like a old school challenge. Like
Yeah.
we have to use
Old
like
school versus
old
new
version of
school.
Photoshop
Yeah.
to like add it on live.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, obviously that's not perfect, but you guys get the idea. That
Yeah.
This is basically what you had to do in the past, and now I just make a selection, hit generate.
It didn't replace us, just make it faster. We're still here doing it.
We're
still here doing
We're
it.
still here doing it. Yeah. So that's another thing you can do with generative AI, and something that I do a lot is for this. A lot of the times I'll get an image, right, and I may have the talent standing in front of, say, a brick wall or some sort of background that has a repeating pattern. It could be a wallpaper in a house, whatever it is. And the poster design that you guys probably see looks basically not even like that. It looks more like oops, I gotta change the square to width and resolution. Whoopsie daisy key, as we talked about earlier, is the escape key. So basically, we'll just say that that's basically the poster that you see, right?
Yeah.
But when I design, I don't design this. I do, something like that. Why? Because then they can then take the wider thing and put it on Facebook, or they just need more than what you show.
Than
For
just,
example,
yeah.
on smart TVs, they'll
Oh yeah,
show
it's
it
the bigger
yeah.
sideways. Like,
So there's so many reasons why you need a wider canvas. So a lot of the times, if I have a poster of the talent standing in front of a brick wall, something with a wallpaper or whatever, I need to extend that background. So one of the things I started doing is just creating patterns because they're easier to work with. So for example, if I had a person standing here, or this is the only good shot that I have of the wall, but I need a wall that basically extends indefinitely. How do I do that? Well, I can actually use generative AI to help me. So one of the old school tools in Photoshop is the offset tool. If you go into filter, other, offset, it just offsets the image. It just pushes the image past the edge of the canvas and it just comes around on the other side. So when you move the horizontal slider, you can see the image moving horizontally, and now we can see the seam. The seam is here. See that? The seam is right there. And then vertically, we can do the same thing. We can move the image and then see the seam, and the seam is right here, all right? So what I can do now is come in, make a selection like so, and use Generative Fill to fill that in. Generative Fill, click on Generate,
And
it's
it's
gonna
make it seamless like that. Wait, so you go on to where to find the offset again?
filter other offset. Yep.
Yeah.
So then it's gonna generate that, and look at that, no more seam. We can pick the one that looks the best. Probably that one
That
in
one
my
looks really
eye.
good, yeah.
And then we can do the other side like so. We can generate using Generative Fill, and it's gonna generate something that hides the seam. And that's all we're really doing. We're hiding the seam.
So now can you just offset it infinity? Is that really?
Watch this. So I like
I'm
that
watching
one.
very closely.
So I'm gonna just merge them all. I can put them into a smart object. I'm just gonna merge them for now, just for the stream. But
Yeah.
probably would do a smart object, and So now I just gotta do one more filter, other, offset, just to make sure that I didn't miss anything, right? I'm gonna try to lean in to see if I see any edges. I don't see any hard edges. Everything looks like it's tiling perfectly. Oh, yeah, actually, nope. I do see one right down here. So let me just move it up a
I
little.
think my head is covering it.
Oh, wait. I lost it. I should have not moved it.
Oh no, you moved it. It was,
Oh, no.
I saw it for a little bit, but we get an idea. You can't really find it. You can find it.
Yeah, it's okay. So what would have happened here? Can I undo?
I think you
There
can.
you go.
Oh, there you go.
Where was it?
Somewhere there,
Down here. Yeah, down
somewhere
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right there.
So there it is. So for whatever reason, we have a seam right here. So what I can do is do the same thing, right? I can use Generative Fill and this little, oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the selection brush, which is nested under above the lasso tool. And I can just come in here and just make, a selection, right? And there might be other seams, I don't know, but we're just not gonna worry about them. We're just gonna assume that this is perfect after we generate. But the point is you wanna go through your pattern, make sure that there are no seams. There we go. It's gonna take a second. Boom, that looks perfect. Let's just assume that we found all the imperfections, right? And there probably might be one more. I don't see it. If you see it, Ted, here, and just look.
Looks good.
Yeah, just
I'm
look at a
staring
different
at
view.
it.
Yeah, it looks good.
That's good.
Looks good. So now what we can do is we can zoom out like so, and then we can do this view called pattern preview, which essentially takes that pattern and then just stretches it out so you can see what that looks
I
like.
missed it.
If you go into view,
yeah.
pattern view,
Oh,
and it just allows you to view it. This is not really tiling, it's just for viewing purposes.
Whoa.
So what do? We zoom out all the way and see if there's anything. Obviously, when you zoom out far enough, you are going to see, repetitions. But the goal is so that there's no repetitions like right about here. And I think that the only reason we're seeing some repetitions is because this area is just too dark compared to the rest. So what I'll do is I'll go into the curves adjustment layer, clip it to the layer below, drag up like so, and then invert it. Control-I, Command-I on the Mac. And then with white, paint on that layer mask. And notice that as I paint, it kind of, changes the pattern. So I'm kind of breaking it apart so that it's not so obvious, So before and after, see that? See how it doesn't make the pattern so obvious anymore?
Yeah.
It's still there, but you're hiding it more, right? So at this point, I think I'm ready to make this into a pattern. Edit. Actually need to be in this layer, not a edit. Define pattern right here, and I can just call it, stone wall or whatever. Stone wall. Press OK. So now I can take this into any composite, any design. I'm just gonna make a, what we'll do? I wasn't planning on doing this, but we'll do it now. We'll take this guy, right? We'll say that this guy, the guy we retouched, I'm gonna put him into a smart object, and then I'm gonna do a remove background.
Dum, 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 dum. They need an elevator music while the thing is loading.
While it's waiting, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go into pattern, and then I'm gonna go into that pattern we just made, and I'm just gonna make it like 25% or something. I'm gonna put them there. But the cool thing now is that if my client says, hey, this is great, this is the image, but now we need to make it wider because we need all these
banner for the social
banners
media,
or whatever
yeah.
you want. You know, may also maybe make it taller. I don't know, whatever the client wants. Look at that.
Wow.
And we can do that indefinitely, right? And it doesn't look like it's repeating unless you really look. But the cool thing is that you can also do other tricks to make sure that it doesn't seem like it's repeating at this point. Like another thing you can do is, for example, you can just simply add like a vignette, right? Like
Yeah, because I can use this for like skies and clouds, which
Yeah,
I use a lot in my work, right? Just like mix more like patterns, and you can just like can really even tell.
Yeah, and obviously this is a very exaggerated vignette.
It looks like it just rained.
Yeah, I know, right? That's
Yeah.
actually true. You know, exaggerated vignette, and maybe even create like another layer, and generate like here. Actually, I just got an idea. I'm gonna expand this so we can see the generate button here, and we can just create. Let's see, stained. I don't know. Actually, I'm thinking here, grunge white paper or something like that. Photo. I just want to create some grunginess, some dirt, and then I'm just gonna blend it so it just looks different.
Oh yeah, Lisa sent the example of the job you guys worked
Oh
on.
yeah,
so I was
Lisa.
looking at
Yeah,
it,
I'll show it. I'll show it in a second.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah. If that's in the chat, I can just copy the link and show you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, this actually didn't work as well as I wanted. One grunge stained white paper. While this is loading, I can. Was that in the chat?
Yeah. In
Yeah.
the Behance chat.
In the Behance chat.
Yeah, if you pop into
Behance dot.
If you just click that, usually it's on the top.
It's on the top.
The first one right there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Here we are. So where is Lisa? Okay. So I showed you guys the project that I worked on alone for Frasier, this one right here. Lisa and I together worked on this Frasier project. So
Was the doc there?
Same show, but the other one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the main poster, and this is just an alter. You know how like they have different posters for everything. Yeah, so Lisa and I worked on this one together.
So was the goose like actually there in his arm, or you guys have to Photoshop that on there?
I don't remember on this one.
I was just curious, like what was wasn't there.
Lisa,
and
do you
what's got
remember?
put there?
Yeah, because I actually Lisa did most of this one. I only helped out towards the end. She had to travel. So I think I finished the project. So Lisa was the primary person working on this, and I just kind of came in at the end. So I don't remember how the goose was built, but
Imagine there was nothing there. He was just like
yeah,
this.
it's Gen Fill. Yeah, but this one I did work on my own, which I believe is the one that they're using as the main graphic.
He was holding the bottle, right?
He was holding the bottle.
Okay.
Yeah, he was holding the
wasn't-
bottle.
Yeah, you don't know, you know.
Okay, I mean, we're gonna make this work. All I'm gonna do is change the blending mode to like multiply or whatever. So now the walls are stainy. You see how there's stains and stuff like that. So that kind of helps, break the pattern up a little bit. But this is, the good is in the photo. It is
in the
stuff.
photo.
Got it. Thank you, Lisa. But yeah, so this is one way in which you can use generative AI to expand these backgrounds. And actually, this would have been a tool. Lisa and I worked on, maybe Lisa can even find the photo, but we worked on Young Sheldon, and there was a scene, or a poster. It was inside of the house, and then they had this crazy pattern behind the wallpaper in the house. And I had to do this, what we just did by hand. It took forever. It took me
man.
like 4 hours just to try to get that pattern to look right. If we would have had Gen Fill, it would have been much faster. Yeah, and then for that one, I also did a 3D chair in Blender. I think it was the same
Gotta
project.
know everything.
Well, no, a little bit of everything at least. But yeah, so this is another thing that you can use with Generative
background stuff,
Fill.
yeah.
Yeah, how much time do we have? Okay, cool.
We still got time.
We got like 20 minutes, right?
About 18, yeah.
Cool. So Lisa said you did an amazing job in that room. Thank you, Lisa. So again, I just want to drive the point home that while I could come in here and ask Generative Image to give me an album cover for an album called
The Renaissance guy with the guitar.
that was hilarious. Heartstrings.
Heartstring.
and then say, maybe we'll make it artsy and click on generate, it might not give me exactly what I want, right? Because I have an idea in mind of what I want and the things that we could do and all that fun stuff, right? So we'll see what it comes. So that's not terrible, right? That's not terrible. That's pretty cool. But that's not what I have in mind for the album cover, right? I have a specific idea of what I want for my album cover. And this is the point that I'm trying to make. Instead of trying to just generate like an entire image, like I would recommend generating smaller elements using traditional Photoshop tools, blend them together to create what you want, rather than just having AI generate everything for you. And this is why I think at the end of the day, artists won't be fully replaced, because the idea that's in your head, it'll be very difficult to just type it up. It'll be for you, especially someone like you, Ted, as you were doing earlier. You were using Firefly. You were bringing images in. Yeah, exactly.
So plug into my brain.
Exactly. So I'm gonna try to do like an album cover. So I have like a grunge paper texture idea, and I'm just gonna make it photo, and I'm gonna click on generate, and we'll see what comes up.
Nate asking, what are you working on now? The album cover?
Right at this second, I'm working on an album cover. If he's talking about a TV show or something like that, I can't say.
Yeah, I figured. NDA.
Yeah. So we're not allowed to talk about anything until it's out. But yeah, so this is exactly what I wanted, right? I wanted this grungy texture, which I think is going to be a good texture for my album, right? So there you go. We're going to start with that. I'm going to drag the layer down. By the way, you don't have to drag layers down. Control bracket keys move the layers up and down the layer stack. So another quick way of working. Jeez, Ted. Jeez, I'm going to quiz you at the end of every stream.
Oh, what? That's so fun. Just moving up and down.
I like how you're trying it on your. Try shift. Try holding the shift and watch what happens. It brings it all the way down to the bottom.
What?
Yeah. So what I only have 2 layers here, so it's not going to be that impressive. But I'll make a few more layers.
I mean, it's just like sometimes it's like because I work on the tablet, it's just easy to drag it, but then I have to move in between. That annoys me. So oh wow.
So if you hold Control Shift right bracket key, the layer goes to the very top of the stack. Control Shift left bracket key to the bottom of the layer stack. If you have a background layer, it'll go above the background layer. The background layer is the layer that is locked. That's why it doesn't go under.
If we took the Photoshop test, I'm not gonna pass.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I've never taken it. I wonder if I would pass it. I've never taken the.
There's an actual test you can take.
Yeah,
right?
there is. You get I forget the name of it, but it's like a Adobe Photoshop. Do you
get a license?
You get a certificate from Adobe. I forget the name. It's the Adobe. I think it's called the ACE or the ACP. You might look it up. Yeah. Anyway, it's like I'm not gonna pass it.
Yeah, probably not.
If you know in the chat what that test is called, let us know.
Yeah.
So our album cover is called Heartstrings, right? So I'm thinking like of generating like a heart that's made of strings, right? So how can we do that? We can come in here and we can say something like red heart. Red. How about this? Red broken heart made out of. We'll say strings for now, but then we might change it. And then I want it to be photorealistic. And we have effects here, right? And under effects, we have materials. And under materials, we have yarn. Actually, let's change it to yarn.
That's cool.
Let's change it to yarn. So, because it kind of...
you can just yarn animations. That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't go that far, yeah.
On white background, white background, we talked about it earlier, so that you can mask it easier later.
Nate from the test. Certification, wow. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch it.
Yeah, Adobe Certified Professional, ACP, yeah. You're like, I'm not gonna pass it.
I'm just getting curious what are some questions on there. Oh, that actually looks really good. With the Jan Broken Heart.
Yeah, so then we can...
That looks really good.
We can find one that, this one's cool. Aww, this one's kind of cool because it's kind of like trying to like... So I like this. And, the hearts around it I don't really like, but that's okay. What we can do now is we can just... this is something that, this is just my opinion, by the way, what I'm about to say. In my opinion, I don't like how if you click on the 3-dot icon and you click on remove background, what Photoshop does is it duplicates that layer, that generative fill layer, it makes it into a pixel layer, and it applies a layer mask. My preference will be to just apply a mask to that. But that's just me.
Yeah, to like
That-
keep it the same, they just have to do like
Right.
okay,
So that's
yeah.
just me. So that doesn't mean much. That's how I feel. So, now that we have this, we can start working with it, right? We can start using the paintbrush tool to paint with black on the layer mask on things we don't want, like all these other hearts. Whoops. And I'm painting with white. I should be painting with black to hide. Black hides, white reveals. So here you go. I'm removing all these things, and now I can come into the heart again, and I can use the quick selection tool, which is right here, and I'm just gonna make a quick selection out of the white areas like so, and then I can come in here and obviously fill with black, or I could have inverted it too. That would have worked as well. So you see how I'm taking generative AI and I'm taking traditional tools and blending them together to get the idea that I want, Somebody, you said the test. Was that you?
Yeah,
the
yeah,
test
it was
looks
me. I was
hard.
like, the test looks hard. I'm not gonna touch it.
The other thing we can do is I'm just gonna call it hard. I just don't like those long,
Broken heart.
yeah, those long layer names. I'm gonna double click on the side of the layer, add a nice little drop shadow, bring it down. You can see the light here is on this side, so maybe bring this down, adjust the opacity. I don't necessarily like that black shadow. I'm just gonna go with this darker brown here, maybe a little bit darker, press OK. And that's my cast shadow right there, but I need more than one. I'm gonna click on this drop down here, and then maybe reduce the size, and maybe bring in the distance, and just keep playing with it until you get a shadow that works. Add one more, and then maybe this one is closer, more of a contact shadow kind of thing, something like that. These are all, again, art related topics, cast shadows, things like that.
Yeah. What kind of music is this album?
Yeah, what do you guys think? Let us know.
Emo?
Yeah, 100% emo. Oh,
What would be
actually,
the first song called?
heartstrings.
That's fast.
You can double click on the layer again to bring everything back. And what I'll do is, here's the trick. I'm just going to add a bevel and emboss just because I want to make sure the heart feels more rounded. So I'm just going to increase the size and then change it to like maybe overlay the blending mode. I don't know, hard light, what works better? Nah, I guess soft light works, and maybe not completely white. Maybe make it a little bit, off white into the reds there, and then you can make adjustments just to make it feel more round.
Yeah,
So
highlights around.
yeah, before and after.
Yeah.
See that? Before and after. So again, taking AI, applying traditional tools to generate my idea of the design that I have in mind. So this is going to be good for now. I can spend a lot more time fine-tuning it, but I think this is it. So before and after. So we're taking all these elements and putting them together. I think the heart's a little too big, so now at this point I can start fine-tuning all these other details, right? Making it smaller. If I zoom in, I can see that there's a lot of little white areas that I missed. I could definitely fix that. We're not going to worry about that in this stream because we don't have a lot of time. We have about 10 minutes, and there's definitely other things I want to do. I also want to add other design elements to this album cover. So what I'll do is I'll hide the heart. I'm going to click to the layer directly below that, and I'm just going to generate another image. And this time I can generate something, I don't know, flowers in the shape of a heart, and I'm going to make it artsy. So just going to click the art button, and I'll use a reference image, and I'm going to scroll down, and I know that there's a section here, this one right here. This is like a line drawing of like this tiger, and that's what I want. I want the line drawing, almost like a tattoo kind of design thing. I'm going to click on generate flowers in the shape of a heart. So let's see if it generates what I have in mind.
Flower hearts. Who broke your heart?
Yeah, who broke your heart?
That's the second song title.
Yeah, let us know your song titles. Perfect. That's exactly what I had in mind. See that? So the flowers generate a heart. I'm going to click on... Ooh, that one's good too. They're all really good.
Like
wow.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised.
First
They're
one's pretty
all
good, yeah.
really
They're
good.
really good. It's our lucky day.
It's our lucky day. So what I'll do now is I'll enable this layer.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll change the
that looks
blending
kinda
mode
cool.
to multiply. There we go. And now we can make our decisions. So does that one fit the heart better? I don't know. That first one, I think
The first one is pretty good. Yeah, that one's...
I mean, they all work, but
Yeah.
I think we'll go with the first one, right? So there you go. There's the first one. So now that we've done this, again, use traditional tools to make this work for us. So can you imagine, by the way, writing a prompt that generates all this for you exactly this way?
Not gonna work. Yeah.
Right.
Because then you have to like a yawn broken heart shape overlap with brown paper with flower heart shape.
Right.
It's gonna generate something really weird.
Yeah. I like the suggestions that Kane is writing in the chat. Unbroken heart. And the use. That
one
really
hurts.
Good. That one hits me in the feels.
Who hurt you, Kane?
I know. Who hurt
Join
you?
the club.
So I'm going to create a hue and saturation adjustment layer. I'm going to clip it to the layer below, and I'm simply going to click on colorize, and that's going to colorize that line drawing. Why is it colorizing that line drawing? Well, remember, this layer is using the multiply blending mode, so it's hiding all the pixels that are white, and then anything that is darker than that is keeping it. Those pixels that are kept, the ones that are darker than white, are now being colorized by this adjustment layer when we click on the colorize checkbox. And now when we drag this hue slider, notice that wherever the hue slider, that's the color that the heart becomes. So we drag it to the blues here, look, now it looks like blue. So this will be like a way of creating like a tattoo, for example, like if you want to put a tattoo on someone. But anyway, so we can just adjust the slider to what we want. What do I want? I kind of like the grunginess of the like blue orange here in the background, so I'm kind of matching that, and I think that works pretty well. So yeah, so that's exactly what I'm doing. Another thing I could do here is adjust the lightness. If I make it darker, it makes the image darker. If I go brighter, it kind of fades.
Fade it away.
Why is it fading? Again, the multiply blending mode makes things that are brighter and visible, so we can fade it away a little bit. And I kind of like the fade.
The emo song's just stuck in my head right now while I'm looking at it.
What emo song do you have? Are you stuck in your head?
I don't know if we can sing it, but it's copyright. But
I want to make the Whoa, what was that sound? You heard that?
no one.
I'm going to use the eyedropper tool to make a selection of like the color of the... Oh, by the way, something I should say.
Yeah.
Right now, the eyedropper tool is set to point sample, which means that the pixel that you click on, that's the color you're going to get. A lot of times, like now, you don't want that. I actually want an average of pixels. So 5 by 5 will take the pixel that I click on, look at the 5 by 5 average around it, and create an average. So it's not the color you click on, it's the average of the pixels around it. So that'll give you a better result. Why? Think about having an image with a lot of noise, and maybe you have colored noise. So when you click on a color, it might not be the color because you're clicking on the noise, right?
Yeah, actually that'll work for me to use like blending too on like different images and stuff, because I do sample the color around there too, like trying to make it look as close as possible.
Right.
But now if I do 5 by 5, that's even better with like the average color. That will just match.
Yep. And all I'm really doing is just bringing down the opacity to 0, and then I can just increase it. By the way, you can just press the number on the number pad on your computer. 1 is 10%, 2 is 20%, 3%, 3 is 30%. 4 is 40%, so on and so forth. So you can, really quickly see, what the right percentage will be. And I'm just trying to not make the background so strong so that the foreground stands out more, if that makes any sense. So at 30%, by the way, if you wanted something like, 48%, just type in 4 and 8 really fast. 48 and makes it 48.
Yeah.
Or like 23. And
something I know finally.
Something finally. Yes. Do you know what the...
Oh, no. Do I know what?
Okay, so you saw that if I tap in, let me do... Oh, whoopsie daisy, escape key. If what we just said, if you type in the tap on that number 8, it changes the opacity to 80%. What about fill? How do you change the fill?
I don't know. Actually, so funny thing, I never touched fill.
I'll show you why you would need it.
Tell me that. Yeah,
I'll show you why you'll need it.
I'm missing it.
By the way, the answer to that was shift and then the number. So shift 3, 30%, shift 9, 90%, shift 0, 100%, shift 0, 0%.
So what does fill works?
We looked at it in the last session, in the last stream earlier.
Yeah.
Remember when, I'll show you guys. That way I'm just not talking. So I'm just going to create a circle here. The circle, the color doesn't matter. I'm just going to fill it with white, right?
Right.
And I'll make sure that one's at the top of the layer stack so you guys could see it. So there, white circle. Is it on the, no, it's not in the top of the layer stack yet. My keyboard shortcuts are not working. There we go. Top of the layer stack now. There. Top of the layer stack. I'm going to double click on the layer style here. If you bring down the fill, this is the same slider, by the way.
Right.
Same slider. If you bring down the fill, now anytime I click on one of these, it'll only apply the new pixels and it'll keep the original ones away. So now I can come in here and do like an outer glow, for example. See that? And I can do something like an inner glow as well, you know, and it just adds it to the image there, but it doesn't affect. You don't see the original pixels. So that's
They
one.
keep the shape and
You keep the layer styles, but not the original pixels. And if I want to bring the original pixels back, I can start bringing in the fill. See that?
What do you usually use that on retouching?
Retouching probably not much,
Probably not much.
but you know, for like stuff like this more often. The other reason why you would use it, and this one for adding effects to an image, it's just probably not the best image to use it in, but I'm gonna just tap that in, right?
Yeah.
And if I come in here and I reduce the opacity, you get that result. But if I change the blending mode to color dodge and reduce the opacity, I get that result.
Right.
If I click on transparency shapes layers and use the fill opacity, look how it looks like a light now.
Whoa.
See that? And look at opacity. See? That doesn't look, it looks different. So there's 8 blend modes, the 8 special blend modes. You can look on my website, Photoshop training channel, search for blending
Look it
modes.
up, yeah.
There's a huge article that talks all about this. But now with this technique, using color dodge and fill opacity, you can create essentially a spotlight on your image, right? So there's that light. And now we can just move this around, and look, there's like a light that's
Nice.
just hitting our piece of paper and our heart here, but not relevant for this particular
We
image,
have a
right?
minute left.
We have a minute left. All right, well, the last thing I'll do is just say thank you for joining us. I was gonna make this white and then apply.
I mean, 30 seconds you can do it.
and apply a gradient overlay at the bottom. I was gonna make this black, you know, just to do
I'm
that.
break my heart.
And then we just do something like a 2 for 20% or maybe 5 for
Oh
50.
yeah, see,
7.
that's nice.
And there
Yeah.
we go. So that was the album cover that we created using different generative AI elements in Photoshop and putting them together with traditional tools. So again, I cannot reiterate this enough. AI is not replacing you. Hopefully I was able to show you how it can benefit you in your workflow.
And when can we find you?
Photoshop Training Channel. Photoshop Training Channel on YouTube. Photoshop Training Channel is the website.
That was on TikTok, right?
And TikTok, yeah. TikTok,
I watch
everywhere.
I watch it there. Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah,
I watch your
yeah,
TikToks.
Yeah. Oh, I don't
Yeah.
have a good TikTok. Yeah, and make sure to stick around. I think there's still a few sessions after us. Things building autumn patterns in Illustrator, illustration challenge with Storm Stewart. Yeah, and then thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye.